This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Well, great to be here. We are back after a week vacation, and there's a friendly new face at the table. But good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Carton Show. That guy right there is David Jacoby, fresh off a week in Australia, eating kangaroo burgers.
I know.
This handsome guy, of course, is still Super Bowl champion, Mr. Willie Colon.
El Jefe.
And look what the cat dragged in.
Timmy.
Mr. NBA Hall of Famer, my main man, Timmy Hardaway. Now, here's the good news. Timmy's going to be with us pretty much every week through the NBA Finals, like he was a year ago. So great to have you back, Tim. How are you? How you been?
Man, I'm great, man. I can't complain. Everything is copacetic. Life is good.
You look fantastic, if I may say.
Thanks.
Freshly shaven, the stash is still where it was. I'm trying to get
still
it to
telling
shave
jokes, huh?
I've been trying to get it to shave it. Anyhow, it was an interesting weekend. It was kind of like for me, you know, the three C's this weekend. Number one, the Combine. And the NFL Combine's going on. And as much as I learn absolutely nothing about anybody in the Combine, when it's on, I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
I can't shy away from it. And, like, there's a dude running a lot faster than I've ever run. That's Xavier Worthy, who apparently broke a Combine record, at least the unofficial record, now 4.21 in the 40, meaning he's really fast. I don't know if he can play football, but he's really fast. But every time I sit down, I'm watching the Combine, I can't turn the damn thing off, and I do what every one of us does. I wonder
No question.
how much he beats me by.
No question. I even think about, listen, it goes back to my Combine. I wasn't invited to the Combine, but my pro day, you see the guys who bench, you do other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, man, I should have ran a lot faster. There was an offensive lineman that ran a 4.7 at 366.
The dude with the mullet, right?
Man, you know how fast that is at that weight?
I wonder why we make offensive linemen run 40-yard dashes. I've never seen you guys run more than 5 yards down the field.
I think they do run far down the field. I mean, they got to block. So when you get out around and that running back is coming around, you got to block.
Yeah, I was also told if I'm running more than 40 yards, that's an interception going the other way. So that's a bad thing.
It's a problem. Like, but every now and then I'll see a guy your size. I'm like just out of morbid curiosity, can I beat that guy?
No. Cannot.
And I don't think I can.
No. These guys are fast than what you think. They're moving pretty quick.
There's a rhythm to it. It's quiet in the stadium. It's just like the whole thing's just kind of quiet. There's a rhythm to it that's very like calming when I watch.
Now, there's a great Bo Jackson story that, you know, Bo didn't want to run the 40 when he was coming out of Auburn. And he was actually going to baseball practice. So he had, like, you know, normal clothes on, getting ready to go change for baseball practice. And they're like, yo, Bo, just run the 40 real quick. And he ran the 40, and his track coach was there. And after he ran the 40, he came back, apparently not a 4.2. I thought it was less than that. And his track coach said, what are you doing? He goes, well, at the last 10 yards, I slowed down. He goes, well, don't slow down. Give him a real 40. And the story goes that he then went back out there. I guess it was unofficial now, and ran a 3.9.
Stupid.
Now, that's a Bo Jackson, one of those urban legends.
Yeah.
But if you ever saw Bo Jackson, it's possible.
Well,
It's possible.
You've seen him up close.
Yes, I have. He's had one of the greatest naked bodies I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's a story. we
even get to 8 o'clock yet.
can discuss that later.
Top 5 list later in the show?
What's that?
Is that top 5 list later in the show?
It might be, yeah. Matter of fact, write that down. Best naked male bodies I've ever seen. The second C for me was last night in Cleveland, where the New York Knicks lose Jalen Brunson like at the first play of the game. Knee contusion. Looked like he and Hartenstein kind of collided knee and thigh, knee and knee on a foul line pick. But without Jalen, without Anunoby, without Julius, and of course no Mitchell Robinson. To be fair, Donovan Mitchell didn't play for Cavs last night either. But the Knicks went into Cleveland, the team that's right above them in the standings, Tim Hardaway, and said, we'll take that ball home because it's ours.
Hey, you know what? They went in there and did what they supposed to do. They played with a lot of confidence. They playing with a lot of confidence,
yes.
The whole team. And they taking on the identity of a New York Knicks teams in the 90s. You know, they coming in, they putting on their their hard hat. They coming in playing great defense, and they moving the ball around, and everybody's spacing. And Thibodeau is saying, hey, we're not scared to shoot the ball.
Yep.
We just going to play like we normally play, and everybody have freedom to shoot and have confidence to shoot, and we're going to do what we do best. That's play defense, grind it out, get in your face, and not let you score the basketball and make you turn the ball over.
Yeah,
That's
Josh Hart had a big game last night. And again, that's a team playing without its 4 of its best players.
Yeah.
Standing right there in the 4th spot behind Cleveland. And then the 3C for me was Caitlin Clark. Somewhat embarrassingly, I didn't know that Lynette Woodard had the real record amongst women.
Yes.
I knew Pistol Pete had it, obviously, for men. But here you go on a couple technical free throws. She breaks the all-time scoring record for man or woman. And enough of the negativity, enough of the hate, enough of the, trying to minimize what this woman has accomplished. She is the greatest scorer in the history of college basketball, man or woman. No one's saying she's going to beat a man one-on-one, and they shouldn't. She is now historically the greatest scorer of all time, and why can't that just be the story, period, stop? More on that coming up in a little bit, because I'm starting to get offended by all these people trying to break down the greatness of Caitlin Clark. Meaning you. And we'll get to you a little bit later on.
I was going to ask you, where's this hate coming
Right
from?
from this guy.
Who is talking about her?
I'm just saying, Pistol Pete did it in 3 years. I'm just going to say that.
No.
He did it in 3.
Without three. Without three.
So I'm just, yes. Fair enough.
But records are going to be broken.
Thank you, Tim.
And we're going to talk about a lot of records
over
the weekend.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Your 4th seed is too long.
We'll get into it. In any event, we do have a great show for you today. We got a bunch of basketball. We got 40,000, which means absolutely nothing to me, but to these guys maybe it means something. And we got tons of football coming your way as well. It's a great return. It's a Monday. It's FS1. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
All right, so yesterday there was the promise of a big basketball game. Golden State had won 7 out of their last 9 going into that game yesterday in Boston, and it was a bloodbath early. It was a bloodbath late. It was a bloodbath so bad that the Celtics sat their starters in the 3rd quarter of this game. And at one point, I flipped it on, and the score was Boston 82 and Golden State 38. 82-38.
Yeah.
There was also a point in the game I know Jacoby was talking about earlier this morning where you could have taken Golden State plus 42.
43 and a half, and I still lost.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Because they lost by 52. Look, Timmy, the Celtics, we all knew coming into the year, even without, Marcus Smart, and then the question is, Porzingis going to even be on the court? Can he stay healthy? And you've got 2, generational scorers alongside him. Could this team be that good? They are that good.
They are that good. They set a record for 3 times beating 3 teams by 50 points.
Yeah,
that's an
doesn't
NBA
happen.
record. That doesn't happen. But they are really good. Their bench is really good. Pritchard comes off the bench, plays well. When Porzingis is able to play every game or some games, he's playing well, and they played well without him too. Tatum and Brown. I mean, that duo right there is tough to beat, and they playing with a lot of confidence right now, and it's going to be hard to beat them. Only thing I want them to do is just stay healthy.
Well, and let me jump in on that because I don't know if it's a concern or not, but I don't like the Celtics because I'm a Knicks fan, so I hope somehow somewhere it falls apart terribly, or the coach tries to sleep with the owner's wife or something, whatever may happen in Boston. These days.
Doing that?
I don't know if they're still doing it, but
still doing that.
Us Knicks fans are hoping they're still doing it. Timmy's so happy he's back. But here's the thing: they got an 8-game lead in the loss column over Milwaukee. It's a wrap. They are the number 1 seed. There's not enough games left, to be honest, for anybody to catch them. You see it right there. With only 12 losses and Milwaukee's got 21, and you start doing the math, you're like, well, how many games do we have left? There's 20 games left in this season. The question is, and you've been on great teams, obviously, and maybe you even on some of those Steeler teams, when you don't have a lot to play for, You know what your seed is, and in this case, you're the number 1 seed. Boston's had some disappointing playoff exits, obviously, over the last couple of years. Would you rather have a team that has a 12-game lead with 20 games to play, or is it better for them to have to play games that matter, that count, that they got to get up for?
No, I'd rather have a team that has this type of cushion.
You do.
Come out here and play. Don't worry about it. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the pedal to the metal. And let's keep getting better. Let's keep growing. They got to incorporate Porzingis and get him acclimated more into the system. And him being out here and there is not helping them, even though it's helping them in the long run when in the playoffs. But they got other guys like Cornette and other guys on their team that needs these reps with Tatum and Brown and understand where they need to be at on the floor, and that's what they're doing now.
Because let's be honest, they're not going 10 deep in the playoffs, right?
No, because you could. I mean, if you got a cushion, if you up by 20,
well,
25.
Yeah, right. If you're up or down by, I'm with you. Right. Football's obviously different, but as an athlete, you rather have this kind of lead, or you want games to matter?
No, you need this type of lead because you want everybody on the floor to know their roles. Right? You talk about the difference between Brown and Tatum. Like, Brown is a guy who starts the game off really fast. He's aggressive with the ball, and then Tatum kind of finds his way late in the games. And when you look at both of them, they're playing instinct. And what I love about the Celtics right now, they're not looking back. Right? They're just mopping you up. Like that halftime score, the Celtics were 44 points.
Stupid.
It was stupid. Like, to that point, when you're playing at that type of level and you're beating up on those type of teams, especially a Warriors team who, like, you've already kind of had a history with, that just sends a message to the rest of the league that you're the new bully.
And by the way, Golden State's played really good basketball. I said, they were 7-2 in the 9 games prior.
If you look at the Eastern standing again, right? Earmuffs, Knicks fans, there's something happening here. 1 and 2 could be potential Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Doc Rivers in Boston again. Again, Doc Rivers going to Boston and blowing a lead. Like, it just seems like...
Wait. It'll be a different team now.
We know how it's going to end up, Tim Hardaway.
Come on, man.
We know how this is going to play out.
Well, to be fair, we do know. Yeah, we do. But in the Bucs' fairness, they did trade away their defensive guy in Holiday.
Yeah, and I did read the story about Dame Lillard over the weekend where he's very lonely.
Oh, yeah, nothing to do in Milwaukee.
And none of my business, so I don't get into it. He and his wife got divorced, and he has no friends there, and there's not a lot to do.
It's only an hour to Chicago, downtown Chicago.
Yeah, but Dame time should be in overtime after the game, baby. Get
He's
the ball spot.
He did the woe is me article where
it was
so
drive to Chicago, have a drive to Chicago, hang out in Chicago, downtown Chicago, enjoy yourself, and then come right back.
I think that's what got Antoine Walker in trouble. I might want to avoid.
Well, Antoine Walker lived in Chicago.
Yes, he did.
All right, he didn't live in Milwaukee. He lived in Chicago. So, he's fine.
He also got robbed at 4 a.m. outside a diner in the city.
Darkness this morning.
Look, let's keep that there. You're going to get off my boy Twan.
Yeah.
Let's keep that
That's my guy.
Wasn't you on vacation last week? I mean, you're supposed to come back enjoyable, positive, ready to go. And this is, like
I'm
you
so
said,
happy you're here. All right, let me stay positive.
Yeah.
Then the Lakers are the 10 seed. And by the way, they're not going to drop to 11 because Utah sucks, and they got a 5-game lead in the loss come over Utah. But I'd make the argument they ain't getting out of the 10 spot either. And much like last year, they're going to be forced to win a game or two just to get into the real playoffs. Now, we saw them go to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not saying it can't be done. AD's had a very good year as opposed to last year. He plays most nights. And this is an interesting team when he plays well. But the reality is this. You've got one of the best players in the entire league in the 7th spot in Kevin Durant. Another one of the very best players in the league in Luka in the 8th spot. You got Steph Curry in the 9th spot and LeBron and AD in the 10th spot. Like, this is not the way the NFL would have scripted it. If you believe the NFL scripts things. The NBA clearly has no script because the 4 most marketable stars in the West, household names, are 7, 8, 9, and 10. No disrespect to Alexander in Oklahoma City or Edwards, of course, what he's doing in Minnesota. They're the top 2 seeds. But the guys that you bank on are sitting 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Well, I tell you this. It's their own fault. Come out of the gates and play well. Lakers, they win an tournament season.
Yes, I think they had a parade as well.
Right, they had a parade. All right, after that, they went to sleep.
Right.
They lost like 6-7 games in a row or something like that. No, you got to keep that up.
Yeah.
That's why they're in this predicament now in 10th spot. And I don't see them. They could beat the Warriors in a playing game.
Sure.
And then after that, they could be out.
Well, we got tons of basketball throughout the week, and Timmy's going to be here the rest of the way to talk NBA hoops with us. Willie stayed too. He ain't going anywhere.
Appreciate it.
Speaking of that, you're welcome. Every time I look to my phone around, I go, please don't be Willie. Don't be Willie. Look, we got tons of football coming your way. The Combine, of course, this past weekend. We got some Jerry Jones news. What did he say about Dak Prescott? And what did he say about the Dallas Cowboys? It's news, and it's next. There's a rumor that I'm doing play-by-play for some of those games.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I've done a couple NBA games. I've done some college games, but I've not gotten the paperwork yet saying that I'm doing the Big East tournament. I don't know where, or the ACC tournament for that matter, or the Big Ten tournament, or Pac-12, or any of the tournaments. But all the good basketball, of course, is on Fox. We're like the home, by the way, of Caitlin Clark, who did announce that she's going pro. She's going to forego that COVID year of eligibility. Here she was over the weekend, knocking down a couple free throws to break Pistol Pete Maravich's record. So whether it was Lynette Woodard back in the late 70s, early 80s, who had the women's record that frankly was not acknowledged by the NCAA because they're frankly stupid. And of course, Pistol Pete, his college record. She is now, man or woman, the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. The Indiana, what do they call it? The Fever? If I'm not mistaken, they have the number one pick. Yes. And that's when we'll stop talking about Caitlin Clark. But for the moment, let's acknowledge and celebrate the fact that she is the best of all time.
Why are we going to stop talking about her when she gets...
Because we don't talk about the WNBA much.
I mean, it's just facts.
That's just facts, you know. Yeah. But anyway, great job. Kudos to her. College basketball, women's basketball is just growing each and every year,
is.
And I love watching it.
She has more college points than you do.
Yes, she does.
That's right.
Yes, she does.
How about that?
All right.
You might want to ask the question, why is Timmy even sitting here? Right?
Because I did my stuff in the pros.
Right. I got busy in the pros.
Yes, you did. Right. And anyhow, congratulations to Caitlin.
But you know what? She did it with threes and twos. Pistol Pete only had twos to do it with. And, kudos to her and all the work that she put into it. And, and there's another girl out there that's really nice, Juju Watkins.
Yes.
From USC.
Yeah.
Ooh, wee. If you haven't watched her play, please watch her play. She's just as exciting as
Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
A good old call out there. By the way, Pistol Pete Maverick also averaged 93 shots a game, and his dad was his head coach. So you know how that goes. From that...
Oh, really?
That's right.
Is that what you did?
Isn't your kid going to play shortstop on his baseball team when you coach it?
No, you're talking about catcher.
All right, let's get back to some NFL football right now. Jacoby's got first in football. Let's go.
We start with Mac Jones. Remember him? He was the Patriots quarterback. He's now working on his no-look passing in the offseason.
Explains a lot.
Is there any chance that he starts as the quarterback for the Patriots?
If they want to lose a lot of games, yeah. No, look, they're going to draft a quarterback based on having the third pick overall in the draft, right? So Mac Jones' days are numbered. He may start off as the number one guy, and whoever the kid is that they draft ultimately takes the job. But I know every Patriot fan is saying, shouldn't you practice the throws when you can see the receiver?
Exactly. But it's the no-looks that gets you on ESPN, Craig, or Fox.
Why are we practicing that?
He is not going to never throw a no-look in the game.
No, he's not. Now, people have said a lot of his passes look like no-look passes because they hit linebackers dead in the numbers. But yeah, by the way, I'm sure that was like a one-time deal.
Yeah, of course.
And the camera had it and put it out just to have some fun.
Of course.
But thank you, cameraman, because every Jet fanatic is like, yes, he's coming back to New England for another year, practicing no-look passes like he's Matthew Stafford or Patrick Mahomes. I love it. Like you think, after all the crap you kind of showed us this past year as an average at best quarterback trying to find you in the NFL, that you'd be very controlling over what videos got out of you practicing, new coaching staff and all. So you can forget about Belichick and all that, but you'd like to think that if Mac Jones is going to put out a tape where we're like, wow, that dude can still throw the ball. The New England Patriots have a tough choice to make. I saw that video, and I'm like, yeah,
especially
as a Jet fan.
After watching the combine with all the young quarterbacks coming out, they're throwing the deep ball, right? All you see with Mac Jones is him stepping over bags. Like, that's not selling me on anything. The guy had 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I want to see him look like
I want to see him at the Pro Bowl thing in Vegas where he hits the targets, but actually hits the targets.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get invited to the Pro Bowl.
He did not get invited to the Pro Bowl. Good point, Tim. Maybe we could set up like a Pro Bowl type thing is what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned the combine. Let's go to second in football. This is pretty interesting. Marvin Harrison Jr. straight up did not attend his media availability at the combine. He is one of the highest touted prospects in quite some time, especially the receiver position. Is this a red flag or a big nothing?
I think what you're seeing now with a lot of these kids, especially the kids that seem like they're locks to be top 10 picks and certainly first-round picks, is that this is going to be the norm, not the kind of anomaly, which it is right now. There's a handful of kids that didn't go to the combine, won't participate in, the body measurements, the hand measurements and all that stuff that, we make a big deal about. So Marvin Harrison, I don't like to look at it from the player's standpoint here. What's he got to prove? He was the best wide receiver in college for multiple years now. He will be the first wide receiver taken. This, to me, is not a red flag. This is not something that should be painted as a negative thing. This is going to become the new reality because you can only hurt yourself now at the combine if you're Marvin Harrison Jr. You are the locked-in, guaranteed number one wide receiver to be taken. I think he'll be the number one non-quarterback taken in the draft coming up in April as well. So why do we have to view it as a negative? It's like we were talking about, Caleb Williams the other day, right? Well, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. He doesn't have an agent and this and that. Dude, he's going to be the first quarterback taken. He's going to have a $40 million contract. Like, it's all good. And I think what you're seeing is the NCAA power over these kids has eroded significantly, starting with NILs, obviously, and the ability for these kids to now earn a living and also profit off their name, their likeness, their number, and all that stuff. I think this is the next step of that, where the kids are starting to recognize, we have a say in this. Just because you want to measure me like a piece of meat and see how I run the 40 and see what my hand width is, thumb to pinky and all that stuff, doesn't mean I have to go along with it. And I think this is going to become the norm.
Yeah, but what's interesting about him is he also doesn't have an agent, right? And these questions, first of all, it's voluntary. These kids don't have to do it.
Right.
And on top of that, you think about the questions that are being asked, nothing of them are conducive that's going to help him better himself in the process.
No.
He's either going to be one or two, and if he's not one or two, he's definitely going to go to a contender. Not a contender, but a team that he's going to be the number one option. So everything you said is already sold.
So let me say this. This is new in the NFL. The NBA Combine, it's been going on since the 80s. So this is not something new I heard of.
Right.
In the NBA, you got 5, 6, 7 teams that are going to choose number one, number two, whatever. And they're going to bring you in to do all those tests. The same test you're going to do in the combine.
Just not at the combine.
You're going to do the same test when you get to the NFL teams. They're going to test your arms. They're going to test your fingers. They're going to see how it's spread out and all that type of stuff. So what they doing now and what he's doing is nothing out the ordinary. Yep. He's doing the right thing.
And let me just say this.
And nothing. You can't hurt yourself in the combine unless you go out there and catch the ball in this. But just going out there and testing and measuring and stuff like that, you're going to do that with the team.
Look, and the other part of it also, and to back up what you're saying also, is that a lot of these kids also will have a pro day. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't need to do that.
No.
He is the best wide receiver coming out. So you don't have to put on a show for these guys. You've already done it playing college football. But a lot of the guys who are maybe lower first-round picks, second, third, fourth-round picks, Ohio State is going to have a pro day. Michigan, pro day. Every school, every Division I school, the HBCU schools did it a couple weeks ago, where they have a pro day. All the scouts come, and the 5 or 6 kids that are eligible for the draft will go out there and, like you said, do all this stuff. They're just not going to do it twice. It's not that big a deal.
Moving on to third and football, we have some reports that left tackle and Cowboy stalwart Tyron Smith will not return to the Cowboys. Willie, as our resident lineman, is this a big deal?
It is a big deal because he's anchored that offensive lines for a long time. The problem with him, he's been injury prone.
Yep.
Since 2015, he's missed 3 games this season. What kills you right now is when you talk about Jerry speaking, I know we got to get to it later, talking about he's all in.
All in.
You have to address this component of the offensive line because he's the main reason why Dak has had the numbers because he's been able to stand up in the pocket, deliver the football. So whatever happens to him, I don't know if any team is really going to jump on him. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be a gold jacket guy. But right now, whoever signed him, they're getting a limit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of people here in New York saying the New York Jets got to be all over that. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
And same with David Bakhtiari, who everyone thinks that we're going to get, me included, because Aaron Rodgers is going to convince the Jets to sign him to shore up the offensive line. I need offensive linemen who play offensive line.
Yep. Right.
I need guys. I don't need 17 games out of you, but I need 16. I'll give you one game off. Oh, you hurt yourself. One game. But I want you on that field every single week. Yeah. And while I agree with you, Tyron Smith is going to Canton, Ohio at some point as a great offensive lineman. This would be so typical for the New York Jets to get a guy going into year 15 in the NFL. And the last 6 or 7 years, he does not stay healthy. No disrespect. That's what happens when you're 14 years into the NFL. So I'm begging the Jets. This is not where you spend $100 million as much as we're desperate for offensive linemen. And I love Tyron Smith as a Hall of Famer. I don't want Tyron Smith of today. I want the Tyron Smith of 10 years ago when he was a lock to play every single game and shore up that left side of my line. I can't put that money out there for a guy who, as you said, not me. You said it, not me. You said it. Lemon.
Yeah,
I don't want no lemons on my offensive line.
Yeah.
No, sir. No, thank you.
Moving on, we have some weird news regarding McCole Hardman. There was some discussions about maybe he was giving out information to the Chiefs and the Eagles, and he took to X and he posted, "This is not what happened. I didn't do that. I would never leak a game plan." What do you make about all this drama around Hardman?
First off, I don't like McCole Hardman at all.
Oh.
Because he was a zero for the New York Jets.
That wasn't his fault, Craig.
A big fat nothing.
You want violence.
He was a nothing burger on this team, and we did him a solid, and we gave him a Super Bowl.
We didn't even play the man.
He was a nothing burger, and you know it. And he was a cantankerous kid who, when the special teams coach said, "Hey, I need you to return punts today," he said, "I've got a boo-boo on my pinky.
That did happen.
I can't return punts."
Yeah.
He's not a Jet. He's barely even a man. Just don't tell him I said that. But look, if he leaks stuff, I buy it. Yeah, I buy that he leaked stuff. I buy the fact that he was talking to Kansas City while he was a Jet. I buy all that stuff. He's dead to me. Muerto. That's what I say.
Well, how good of a
and he should thank us for giving him a chance to win another Super Bowl. I think, if I'm not mistaken, McCole Hardman's been to 4 Super Bowls in his 6-year career. The hell's that?
Well, he's a horrible spy because the games he supposedly leaked the stuff out, the Jets won, right? And so you suck at being a spy. And on top of that, I have a little empathy for him because we never got him involved in the offense.
Empathy.
Especially there was holes in that offense and we needed weapons.
Really, the guy refused to take the field when the coach said, "We need you." You can't have empathy for a clown like that.
I'm always going to have empathy for the guy when you don't use the guy. He came with instructions.
He's been to 4 Super Bowls.
And the Jets are the only teams, and I swear, because being a former Jet, when the players get to the Jets, they come with instructions. The Jets go, "Damn with these instructions." And when it doesn't work out, we're like, "We can't use them." Well, we had instructions how to use the player. He was great in the slot. He was good versus safeties.
Right.
He was a mismatch for any linebacker. And the Jets was like, "No, we'll just put him on special teams." That was never.
He said no to special teams. And look, I'm not going to tell you that the Jets were going to use him correctly. We also had the worst offensive line and a quarterback that doesn't belong in the NFL. But what would you say as a guy in the league if you found out that a dude you played with was leaking game plans?
First of all, I got to see if it's really true.
Let's say it's true for the sake of you being violent. Let's do this. Let's pretend for a moment that Tim Hardaway is a teammate of yours,
Sure.
and you know for a fact he leaked game plans.
Well, of course,
he's a leaker.
I got to ski mask him, right? I got to down. I got to throw him in the truck. I got to find the bridge.
Put a ski mask on. You're not hiding from anybody.
You got to go bars of soap. You know the bar of soap routine? You ever do that?
No.
Yeah, you take a pillowcase, you put bars of ivory soap in it, you wrap it around when a dude's sleeping, a couple guys come in and hold his arms down, and you go to town on the midsection with the
Well, first of all,
pillowcase of soap. You guys never did this?
first of all,
This is a new...
I like how you just.
Right. This is that New York.
Maybe that was prison.
Jersey.
I got that wrong.
That's that mentality. That's your mentality. That's that the mob stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen things.
By the way, me and Tim couldn't run away from each other. Have you seen us walk down the hallway together? Oh, man.
It'd be a struggle. It'd be a struggle.
It's tough. It's tough watching you guys walk at all.
Yeah, it's tough.
Let alone up and down.
It's called the Frankenstein race.
We're definitely have to put an elevator in this place.
They're telling me we got to take a break. Is that right? A little break here. All right, we got to take a break. By the way, just real quick, Texas wide receiver prospect Xavier Worthy did set the new combine record. He ran a 4.21, and honestly, it looks just like a 4.5, a 4.6.
Okay.
Like he's fast, but they all look fast. Okay.
But can he catch? That's what
Right. Ronaldo Nehemiah ran really fast, but he couldn't catch the ball either. Coming up, we've got the return. Oh, he's already here. Tim Hardaway's here. We got some more NFL news for you, and we have the destination of Justin Fields.
Oh.
It's been set, possibly, after this. All right, welcome back to the show. Good to have Timmy Hardaway back here. A little football, though, as Justin Fields seems to be the biggest name quarterback that's likely on the move, except he might not be. We'll get to that in a second, but a story came out over the weekend that the Atlanta Falcons, new coach, of course, also looking for a new quarterback because Desmond Ridder ain't any good, that they might be the favorites to land Justin Fields. But now the story comes out, guys, that they actually prefer Kirk Cousins over Justin Fields, which must be a real knock to Justin Fields, that you want a 35-year-old Kirk Cousins coming off a torn Achilles over a 25-year-old Justin Fields. But apparently that's the kind of pecking order right now, and not just in Atlanta, because now that the story's out there that the Falcons may prefer Kirk Cousins on a one-year deal over a Justin Fields, the New England Patriots are also rumored to have a lot of interest in Kirk Cousins. Not so much Justin Fields, but Kirk Cousins. So there might be a little battle right now between Minnesota trying to hang on to him, Atlanta maybe trying to get him. And if one of those teams, New England or Atlanta, get Kirk Cousins, what does that do to the Justin Fields market? He's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. The question is, if it's not Chicago, where?
Well, it's interesting because I think there's a lot of teams who would love a Justin Fields. Obviously, the Broncos. You talked about the Falcons, and even now you have the Steelers. All those things are in contention. However, when it comes to Kirk Cousins, the problem with Kirk Cousins holding him up is he's not taking a hometown discount. Right?
He's also not going to be playing football till October because he's got the torn Achilles.
Right. But if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you do make a blitz at a Kirk Cousins because you need a field journey. You're talking about Bijan Robinson. You're talking about Drake London. You're talking about Kyle Pitts. Now Raheem Morris. Now you need an older guy who kind of lead these guys.
Yeah, but I can stop you there because the injury part of it's the key to this, right? If you're Raheem Morris and this is your last shot to be a head coach in the NFL, and you got a stud running back, and you got a kind of mercurial tight end / wide receiver there, and now you got to get out of the gate quick because you're in a lousy division. It's anyone's division to win. Are you going to go out there and say, we're going to go to war with Kirk Cousins, but Kirk's not going to play till week 8? So we got to get through 2 months of the season with Desmond Ridder or somebody not named Kirk Cousins? Or if you're going to replace Ridder, doesn't it make more sense to go get Justin Fields because he's ready day one?
Because you need a field general. Justin Fields hasn't proved that yet, especially they're playing in the NFC South. They got time to buy, right? Like the Bucs haven't signed Baker Mayfield. You know what the Panthers are right now. The Saints are abysmal. So if you're the Falcons, if you can buy, if you can save time to week 8 until Kirk Cousins comes back, now you're talking about a playoff team right away.
What am I missing? Like, I don't understand this decision at all. If you were to tell me that I could have Justin Fields, who's been 3 years, 4 years in Chicago, which hasn't gone great, maybe he just needs to change the scenery. We know what he can do with his legs. We've seen him do it with his arms. He played well at the end of the season. Or Kirk Cousins, who has a torn Achilles. And he's old.
And he's mid-30s.
You've got all these young guys, these young skilled players. Why not just get them in the same window? They're all around the same age.
Justin Fields is still growing as a quarterback. You know what you get in Kirk Cousins. You're talking about instant offense. That's what Kirk is. And I understand the Achilles standpoint because I tore mine too. You do need time to kind of get back into form. However, you're talking about a guy with the Falcons have a good offensive line, one. So you get a guy who, if he can stand upright in the pocket, because you know he's not a scrambling quarterback, he can dish the ball out and he can pepper it around. If I'm the Falcons, go get a guy who wants to be there. His wife is from Alpharetta. He has ties to Georgia. He wants to get the hell out of Cole. He's only playing to
one. You're talking about Justin Fields.
No, I'm talking about
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Sorry,
excuse me. Kirk Cousins is going from one dome to another dome. So it's not like he's dealing with the weather at all.
It is funny, though, that I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I don't know if you can commit to a guy on a 1 year, 2 year deal, knowing that he's not going to be ready to play to maybe week 7 at best, right?
I'll do
Considering he's in his mid-30s. And I'm saying to myself, hey, dummy, You're the guy saying that the New York Jets are going to the Super Bowl, and we got a quarterback who's older than Kirk Cousins, who's also coming off a torn Achilles, and it don't bother me with that. Now, the difference, of course, is that Aaron Rodgers is going to be ready week 1. But then there's another name you just threw out there that none of us are really talking about because it's like we all just have the assumption that he's going to re-sign where he's at. Don't sleep on Baker Mayfield going somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Had a great year for Tampa. Not a good year, a great year. He's an unrestricted free agent. He signed the make-good one-year deal. New England has apparently shown some interest in him, and I guess every other quarterback. Atlanta would have to have some interest in him. And I know that he was kind of caught on a hot mic during the Super Bowl week on one of those shows saying that he is going to run it back, but there's no deal that we know of just yet. And if you're Baker Mayfield, and while things are good in Tampa, you're about to lose Mike Evans, so you're losing your number one target wide receiver-wise. The team is getting older, and while, yes, you had a great year, Atlanta, as you just mentioned, a younger nucleus of talent. Don't sleep on Baker Mayfield, maybe moving from Tampa as well.
Yeah,
how about that?
You talking about a quarterback was making $4 million, now he's supposed to be making $35 million. You want to invest $35 million in Baker Mayfield?
By the way,
No.
35 per year? That'd be a tough nut for me to swallow.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not paying.
But what are my options? I go to Justin Fields, who's going to be making $25 million in 2 years. You know, that fifth-year option, right? I go to Kirk Cousins. He ain't taking less than $30 million, and he's not ready until week 7 or 8 at best, right? So if you're telling me I'm getting a legitimate franchise quarterback, I understand that the price tag that goes with it is 30-some-odd million a year, right?
Sure. But at the end of the day, it's hard to feed a full tick. Like, Baker played this year because he knew he was playing for his career. He was motivated.
That's true.
He shut down his social media. Now you're talking about a guy who's going to get the bag with the commercials and everything that comes along with it. That's a different type of quarterback we haven't seen yet. So for me, if you got a chance to go get Kirk Cousins, make it happen because I think he's the safest bet for the organization in the Falcons.
I think the least likely of all the potential avenues that this thing goes down would be that the Chicago Bears shock everybody and just keep Justin Fields.
It can happen.
It seems like that's not going to happen, but it's on the table. Theoretically, it could happen. I just think you got to kick that quarterback contract down the road another 3 years. You draft Caleb Williams, best quarterback coming out. I don't care about all the nonsense surrounding him now or even crying in his mom's arms after a bad loss. He is the best quarterback coming out in this draft. You take the best quarterback, you trade Justin Fields, and you live to fight another day, and you save yourself a bunch of money for the next 3 years while you try to develop Caleb Williams. Because I remember on this show a year ago, almost a year ago to the day, when a very smart man sat where you sit.
Okay.
So now he's sitting over there. When my guy Tim Hardaway said, as a Chicago Bear fan, it's great that I've got a running back playing quarterback. I need the quarterback to play quarterback. Those were your words, if I remember.
Those are my words today.
Okay, so as the only Bear fan here, you want the Bears to trade Justin Fields, yes or no?
I do want them to keep Justin Fields. I wouldn't trade him. I keep him because of the money aspect. I want them to get Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator.
He went to UCLA, right?
He went to UCLA. I don't know what that was about.
Because he did a great job at Washington.
I mean, look at what he had. Look what he had. You need to stop that. You need to stop that. But he would have had a better quarterback in Chicago. So I think you keep him. I think he's growing. I think the team is maturing around him. The line understands what Justin Fields is doing. I will keep him and go with him. I think that the city wants him to stay. He wants to stay, and I think he wants to prove himself to the city organization that he could do it there.
Well, I think in the next 2 weeks, a lot's going to happen.
Oh, a lot's going to happen.
The league season opens up next week, so a lot's going to start happening. If not this week, certainly next week. Hey, we teased it earlier. A dude ran a 4.2140 in the combine. We might as well show you what it looks like. It looks like, to be honest, it looks like every other fast dude is going to be in the NFL, but he was faster than all the rest. Like, oh, look, there's a really fast guy. Look at that. He's fast.
Yeah, he doesn't stop.
I mean, the orange shoes help. They make you look faster.
That's very point, right? Yeah, I got to start wearing orange shoes then. Like, that's the fastest 40-yard dash ever in a combine. And to give you an example of how fast that is, there's the claim that who's the fastest guy in the world now? Usain Bolt?
Yes.
That Usain Bolt runs about a 4.240. and he's accepted as the fastest guy in the world. He, of course, runs 100-meter dashes.
Can that guy catch a football?
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to find out. Because there's going to be a lot of safeties like, come on, Mr. Fastest.
Oh, they're going to split him in half. Yeah. You got to catch him.
He's projected as a second-round pick, but you run a 4.240, you're getting drafted high in the NFL. I don't care who you are. All right, coming up, Jerry Jones made some promises to Cowboy fans, and Dak Prescott told Cowboy fans there's a new sheriff in town with a new look. We'll show you the look, and we'll let you know what Jerry Jones guaranteed right after this.
Are you ready in Miami?
NBA Hall of Famer, the shill, the fan, the front runner. How about this? Wish I was in there. When I beat you, you got to stop coloring your mustache. Not winning right now.
No, you're not winning.
I lost to Tim Hardaway in basketball.
Give me my light. Give me my light. About to bring Miami Beach to New York City.
Miami.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present the return. The return of the prodigal son. The Hall of Famer. He's got his lights.
I'm back.
He's got his crown.
Oh, you gotta have my lights.
He's got the king's robe.
My lights.
He does sign his name HOF because he is a legitimate NBA Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of the NBA season, we are very proud to have, and I love the fact that you can't see him right now, Mr. Tim Hardaway. Welcome back, Timmy Hardaway.
I'm officially back. Officially back.
And one of the good things of having Timmy here is later on, maybe not even today, but at some point in the next month or so, he's going to walk us through why you will never win a championship with Luka Doncic as your best player.
Oh, man.
But more on that, maybe not today, maybe another day, I don't know. But good to have you back, Timmy. Miss you.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me back. Man, it's good.
All right, let's get over to all your top headlines, including a big one with Jerry Jones. Here is Jacoby.
We start with the biggest headline from the Combine, and that is that Jerry Jones is in front of microphones as he always does, and he says the same thing every time about
Get out your nose, Jerry.
All in. Here is Jerry Jones.
I've got my mind all in as far as we're going to do everything that we can do to have this year be as successful as it can be. And one of the reasons I feel good about it is because Dak is for sure our quarterback.
So, Craig, he said all in over and over and over again ever since they lost to the Packers. What does that mean to you that we're all in?
I don't know what it means to anybody because they've not proven to be all in with some of the decision-making they've had. You know, this offseason, Rex Ryan was going to be their defensive coordinator, but he didn't want to pay him what Rex wanted or give him the contract that Rex wanted. So that's an example of not being all in. And that's how Mike Zimmer got the job to be defensive coordinator. Look, Dak Prescott's their quarterback. He should be their quarterback. So that's not a point to debate. He's a top 10 quarterback. There's 20 teams in the league that would trade right now, plus their firstborn son, to get Dak Prescott to be their starting quarterback. But what does all in mean when you don't act like you're all in? And that guy, I've said a million times, is my favorite owner in the NFL, and I wish he owned my New York Jets, because I used to think that he was all in. But when you lose a defensive coordinator over money, and you've got gobs and gobs of money, and you're in your early 80s, and there's not a lot of time left to enjoy your money, how can you say that you're all in when you don't act like you're all in? This is going to be, I know we probably say this every year, but the most important offseason in recent memory for Dallas, because if you have an owner repeatedly saying, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in, well, now you got to prove it two ways. You got to prove it with how you draft, and you got to prove it with this thing, your pen. Because you got to start stroking checks to get guys. You're about to lose your starting left tackle in Tyron Smith, who's not going to be a Dallas Cowboy after this year. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You've got Micah Parsons. You've got Dak Prescott. You've got guys that need to get significant contracts. And let's also not get it twisted. You need to acquire more talent because you're just not good enough to beat San Francisco. You're not good enough to beat Kansas City. In my opinion, you're not good enough to beat the Ravens. I'm not even sure if you're good enough to beat the Detroit Lions or the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fair.
You need to get better. The only way to prove to me and to Cowboy fans that you're all in is to have the most aggressive and successful offseason that you've had in some time.
Yeah, I'm with you, Craig. At this point, talking about Dak is the way to deflect. It's a cover-up.
Yeah,
you
Dak's the
understand
quarterback.
you can't do nothing with him. But for me, what held this team back was the defense. You talking about right now in free agency, you have Chris Jones, Christian Watkins out of Miami, you have Metabikwe out of Baltimore, you have Antoine Winfield Jr. Time after time, we talked about what hurt this team. And you said it, and it's one of the best lines I heard from you all year, was when Dak left the field in a lot of games this season, the team was winning.
Yes.
What let this team down multiple times this year was the defense. So now you have an option right now in Jerry Jones to stop talking about Dak Prescott and what the hell are you going to do with this defense? Because if you're trying to convince Cowboy Nation what's better than this year, what's going to happen next year, is if you don't acquire Chris Jones, if you don't get some of these big market guys, nobody's like, we're going to get the same old team back. We're going to be the same old Cowboys losing in the playoffs.
And by the way, they had a pretty good offensive line. And I know Tyron Smith didn't play every single game. He hasn't in some time. But now that's a major void you have who your starting left tackle is going to be.
To me, their own worst nightmare is Jerry Jones.
Fair.
It's Micah Parsons. Shut up. Be quiet. Don't say nothing. He put too much pressure on them guys. This not Troy Aikman. This not Emmitt Smith. Or this not the playmaker. These are some young kids that can't take this pressure. And every time you speak on we got it, we gonna win, we gonna go all in and all this and all that, you put too much pressure on these guys. If you be quiet, because there's nobody in the NFL or the NBA that's an owner that talks. Only you the only one that talks, and you the only one that's putting this type of pressure on your team. If you be quiet and don't say nothing, they go out there and play freely and have fun and win games.
Except the only thing I would clap back a little bit on that, because I don't disagree with you, is that when you have that star on the side of your helmet, there ain't no hiding.
Different. Yeah.
Well, no.
I don't care who the owner is.
You're going to be hot. But he's putting too much pressure on them. If he would just be quiet and let them play, they enjoy themselves. They're not even enjoying themselves. Every time you see them on TV, it's a grind. Oh, yeah, well, we got to live up to Jerry Jones and what he says. We got to live up to our guy Parsons and what he's talking about.
Right.
If they be quiet, they go out there and play freely and have fun, enjoy the moment that they're in. And then when they get into the playoffs, it wouldn't be that much pressure. But he puts so much pressure on them. Day in, week in, every day.
That pressure ain't going anywhere.
If you keep talking, it's not.
It's been 30 years without
If you keep talking, it's not.
That pressure's only going to keep building and building.
Just like
and
it does
building.
with the Jets.
Well, different kind of pressure.
With them, they can go 17-0 and win every game by 24 points, and we're still going to say the same thing when it comes to the playoffs.
That's right.
No, you still
every time.
You still got to win in the playoffs.
I know, but Timmy, they won 16 straight home games, and then here comes Green Bay, and thank you.
Because they talking. Jerry Jones,
we
you
agree
talking.
with you on that.
Micah Parsons, you talking. If you don't talk, who was talking for Green Bay? Nobody. Okay, and they went in there and just smacked them in the mouth. If you be quiet and don't put that pressure on you, everything will be okay.
Do you expect Parsons to talk less next year?
No,
and
that's what's gonna hurt him again. Just like Jerry Jones, that's what's gonna hurt him again.
What Tim can speak to, because he's old enough to speak to, and you can too, Willie, is the fact that this is the new wave athlete, where I got a microphone, whether I'm getting paid a lot of money for it or not, don't even matter. I'm putting myself out there. Like, there's 5 guys on every team that has a podcast right now. Mm-hmm. Not all of them as well known or as commercially viable, maybe, as Micah Parsons is. True. But you're right. Like, Micah Parsons has a game in which he does not show up on the stat line. No assists, no hurries, no sacks, no tackles, nothing. And 3 hours after the game ended, he's sitting at home on a microphone talking about how the Cowboys let him down or how the other team did A, B, C, and D.
Right.
And you're not going to stop it.
Well, you're not going to stop any athlete these days from talking. Now, this is the world we live in. Every guy has a platform to say what they want to say and how they feel about the situation. But if you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, it starts with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, he's never going to shy away from the mic. You're never going to take the mic quarterback away from him. I think going forward, if there's a message to be said, and you're talking about being all in, like, figure out why did you give Roger Steele your right tackle, $82 million, but you're letting your all-pro tackle walk away in Tyron Smith, right? Talk about that. Talk about the fact that you're letting Tony Pollard hit in the market. You don't have a running back right now, right? So there's questions to be had. And so you continue to throw out Dak, and Dak's saying, hey, man, you say what you want. I got no trade calls. You got to pay me. So if you want to use me as a shield, fine. But if I'm Jerry Jones, you need answers to be had on defense, and what are you going to do to make this offense better?
It's funny you bring up the running back situation, Dallas, because I played a little golf this past week.
Did you?
With
Saquon.
unavailable running back.
Oh, okay, Saquon.
Who might look very good in the Dallas star on his helmet.
What do you
And
say?
I asked this person directly about possibly taking his talents to Big D and playing for Dallas. And I got a smile, is all I got. But I was with Saquon.
Right.
Okay. There we go.
Drop that name right there.
Yes.
That's a smile.
We go to the same golf simulator place, Florham Park Golf Club. You can go see it for yourself if you want. And he's been playing it. We have a big match coming up. It's me and Victor Cruz against Saquon Barkley and Sterling Shepard for charity, which will be coming up later in the spring. Like, remember the deal on TV, The Match, or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
But we're doing that for charity. So Saquon's been getting the swings in. Like, no joke, kept the place open till 1 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday night, which is when I may have sauntered in. I was on vacation.
Right.
And what woman doesn't believe their husband's playing golf at 1 o'clock in the morning?
That's a good point.
But yeah, so I was teasing him about going to Dallas, and got a wry smile. I don't know what that smile means, but he didn't say he's not going to Dallas.
Okay.
He didn't say he was either. So I don't want this thing get legs. And Gianna. I want to be clear.
You birthed the baby.
I am not
He wrote
saying,
the legs down on there
I'm
already.
not saying he's going to Dallas. I'm just saying he should go to Dallas. Because Saquon on the Dallas Cowboys is a whole different ballgame.
Correct.
He would be great. He'd be great with the Chargers, but he would be great in Dallas. And I hope he goes there too. Anyway, that's what.
Moving on, we had a basketball game yesterday, and it was a nationally televised
And by the way, I
game.
should also tell you, Jacoby, while I'm at it, and I'll show you the video evidence. I parred the third hole at St. Andrews, and I just want to
You got a
acknowledge
video.
that. I got
Video help.
That's what you had to tell us.
Yeah, I parred the third hole. I went double bogey, hard.
I thought you were going to talk about Saquon.
He put the holes on your headline.
Oh, okay.
That was a 50-point blowout.
It's true.
So you see what happened. The Celtics absolutely dominated the Golden State Warriors, beat them by 52 points, 140 to 88.
Crazy.
What did this tell you about the Celtics and if they have any competition in the East?
It's crazy. 140 to 88 somehow doesn't sound that bad. But when I was watching it, it was 82 to 38. And that sounded and looked really, really bad. Like, no joke. The Celtics pulled their starters out in the third quarter, Tim Hardaway. They didn't even start the fourth quarter.
Right.
They sat the pine the entire fourth quarter plus, and they should have, because it was a 50-point round. Look, the Boston Celtics have already locked up the number one seed in the East. They're the best team in all of basketball. And I say that with one little caveat to the fact that I know the Denver Nuggets are now coming on strong, and they're only a half game out of first out west, and they played really good ball of late. But the Boston Celtics are the best team in basketball.
Yeah, right now, but I'm going to tell you this. Denver Nuggets, they don't care where they play.
I
they
believe
don't care
that.
where they
They
start.
travel well.
Because, they travel very well.
And I do think they will overcome Oklahoma City and Minnesota and get the
They
number
come.
one
If
seed.
They come. They coming. You know, KCP was out the last game, but they getting healthy, and they coming. But the Boston Celtics right now in the East, they're clearly the favorite in the East. Nobody could contain them, and nobody could stop them, and they feel confident about themselves. And we was talking about earlier how they should rest. You blow out teams, you give your starters a rest,
to rest.
the rest of the second half.
Sure.
That's how you do it, and they stay engaged with the team instead of not playing them here, not playing them there. They still got their rhythm.
Look, they're the biggest threat to Boston's injury.
Right.
If they stay healthy,
right.
As you guys know, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. Even if we're healthy, I think we'd win a game in that series, but we're not going to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. And I know we all think about Milwaukee.
I don't know now. You know, with
talk
the
to me,
addition with Anunoby, before that, no. But with the addition
Come on,
to
say them.
Anunoby, I mean, if they was healthy, if the Knicks was healthy, I mean,
2 games?
No, I think they get a series. I think.
Wow.
I like what the New York Knicks and
you like that trade?
I like what they have done.
Yeah.
They just got to stay healthy. And Randall, I feel sorry for him because he's gonna have to have surgery on that shoulder.
Yeah.
And if he gets a pick or falls down or he goes up for a shot wrong, that shoulder could pop
And
out
as
of
much
place.
as he likes to shoot from outside, he's a physical player.
Well, you know what? He stopped shooting a lot from outside.
I'm saying, but
his
game is physicality.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about the Knicks right now because that's our
Let's do
third
it.
headline.
Okay,
the
all
Knicks
right.
played the Cavs yesterday, and Jalen Brunson went down early, and New York collectively held their breath. Guess what? Injury doesn't seem that bad, especially how bad it looked early. But without Brunson, without Randall, without OG, without Mitchell, they still beat the Cavs. Remember, they embarrassed the Cavs in the playoffs last year. What did this win tell you about the Knicks?
Yeah, I don't like when people say, that's the grittiest win of the season. That was the grittiest win of the season right there. Because, you lose Jalen right out of the gate.
Right.
It looked like he and Carton I know that's where he gets
first
hurt.
possession of the game.
I know, but he came off a screen prior to that. It looked like he made contact with Hartenstein's thigh or knee or whatever it was.
I thought that was an ACL the way he was limping.
Well, thanks. But it wasn't.
Oh,
He's
good.
fine.
No,
He's
just
going to be
bruised
fine.
him.
We dodged the bullet, maybe some type of contusion or whatever it is. Because he got hurt, looked on the lift, not on the comeback down.
Correct.
So
On the lift.
I felt better about that. That being all said, look, they went into Cleveland. They're trailing the Cavs. They're the 4 of the Cavs right now. Are the 3 seed. Donovan Mitchell didn't play in this game either, which is a key part of it. He's obviously their best player.
Yep.
But that's a big win for the Knicks, considering they're going to have to fight to win a lot of these games late because Anunoby's out. Randall's out. Mitchell's been out all year, so I'm not expecting him to come back. It's a bonus and gravy if he does. And Jalen gets hurt early. There's no denying the fact, especially with them beat out for Philly, that the New York Knicks are one of the top 4 teams in the East. And I know they're sitting in the 4th spot right now. I think they're a game or half game over Philadelphia right now. It's going to be a dogfight to stay in the top 4, though.
Yes.
It's just going to be a dogfight because the schedule is not the easiest, and they're playing shorthanded every single night. Now, the aspect of that you alluded to earlier, Timmy, when I asked you about the Celtics, which helps a team like the Knicks, there are guys getting extra minutes that would never get these minutes.
Exactly.
And I remember back to last year with LA when Austin Reeves and Hoochie Mama were starting to get extra minutes, and it paved well for them because now you trust those guys. Guys like LeBron and AD are comfortable giving you the rock. You're comfortable shooting it in a big spot. So that experience only helps you when you get down to the playoffs and games and possessions where you got to score, to win a ball game. So you're getting a lot of these guys with tons of extra minutes, which only helps the team down the stretch.
I'm going to tell you this. McBride has been waiting for this moment for 3 years to step in like he stepped in. Not, sorry that Brunson got hurt, but McBride has been working on his game for 3 years. He's come in, he played. He didn't come out the game yesterday. He played 47 minutes.
Right.
That's how confident they are with him, with his production that they've been seeing, his progression that they've been seeing through the course of the years, that he come in and play the way he played and score the way he scored and not miss a beat while Brunson was out.
And the only minute he didn't play was the minute Brunson was.
Right. Exactly. and then you get big play by Hard and what's his name? DiVincenzo.
One thing about DiVincenzo, when they got him from the Bucs, I didn't see any of this in Milwaukee.
I did.
I didn't see this in Milwaukee.
I saw it in college and I loved
scorer
it.
now. He's
No,
a scorer now.
He was hurt too. He had foot injury, so he was trying to come back from the foot injury. Now he's 100%.
But it's a good sign to have people come in the building and play better. Like Precious Achua, the second he put on this uniform, he's playing better.
Well, you got
really
3.
He's the forgotten man in that trade.
You got 3. Yeah, you're right. You got 3 Villanova guys that won a championship at Villanova that's playing well. With those 3 guys, that's playing,
which is why if the Knicks have an early exit, Jay Wright will be the new Knicks head coach next year.
Shout out Hofstra.
And Tom Thibodeau will be gone. But that's only if there's an early playoff exit.
They love Tibbs.
No,
Tibbs,
they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. I'm talking about the front office.
I'm talking.
I think Craig is talking about the front office, too.
Trust me on this. No, they don't. I can tell you this. Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose do not have a good relationship.
Really?
They do not. They don't have to win a championship this year, but and again, health is a big part of this. But if the New York Knicks somehow go into the postseason and Randall is back and playing, maybe not 100%, but close to it,
sure.
and Anunoby's back playing at the level
if he doesn't get hurt
we expect.
Again, Randall, they go and Anunoby
they should get to the Eastern Finals.
Easy.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you on
Yes.
that. That is a good enough team to make the run.
There's nothing easy in the NBA. But if they get to the Celtics in the second round, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I think they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and by the way, they should have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Somehow, some way, a bad Miami Heat team took care of business against them.
No, it wasn't a bad Miami Heat. We just went there and did what we supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly right. What else you got, Jacoby?
We got the break coming up next, Mr. Carton.
Oh, great. After rules. After the break, Mike Evans will be the #1 free agent wide receiver on the market. But what team is most likely to give him the bag he's looking for? And it's obscene money. And we'll find out after this. That's Tim Hardaway right there. NBA Hall of Famer, Willie Colon, David Jacoby. So one of the, not even one of the biggest free agents from a wide receiver standpoint that's going to hit the market for the first time in his career is now, I could say, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receiver Mike Evans, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Here's his agent, Jordan Schultz. Mike wants to play with an elite quarterback, Jets, in an offense that will showcase him, Jets, and he paid like a top wide receiver, Jets. He doesn't want to play with a rookie quarterback. Sorry, everyone, not in the Jets. Winning a Super Bowl is a key priority. That doesn't help the Jets out at all there.
Chiefs.
Kansas City does make a lot of sense, which I've been saying since we found out that Tampa was not going to keep Mike. So here's the contract he wants. He wants the Devontae Adams contract, which is 5 years, $140 million. That's the ballpark of what Mike Evans is looking for. Hard to argue that he doesn't deserve it and hasn't earned it based on being a 1,000-yard receiver every single year of his career. He's got the hardware. He's won a Super Bowl, obviously, with Tom Brady a couple years ago. If you're now going to restrict the amount of teams you're even willing to talk to teams that, A, have an elite quarterback, that's maybe half a dozen at most, right? B, have a legitimate shot of winning a Super Bowl, and C, obviously converts of having a rock star quarterback. He's not going to play with one of these kids coming out in the draft. You're talking about Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, but they franchised T. Higgins, right?
Yep.
So they're not spending another $140 on another wide receiver, Jamar Chase, so he comes off the table. You absolutely have Josh Allen in Buffalo now. They have a terrible cap situation, but the cap did go up, so there's more wiggle room now to try to deal like that done. But you'd be hard-pressed to get that contract done in Buffalo. So for the moment, take the Bills off the list. You've got the New York Jets. All right, the Jets have other more pressing needs, although you want another guy to help out Garrett Wilson. I'm going to say I want him on the Jets. I'd be shocked if the New York Jets go out there and get Mike Evans at that number, especially because I don't know what I'm going to get out of Aaron Rodgers, and I'll come back to it again. There's two places that make the most sense. There's the Kansas City Chiefs, who, in my opinion, even having won back-to-back Super Bowls, are desperate for a real game-breaking, deep threat wide receiver like Mike Evans. Remember, the last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes has only thrown 2 touchdown passes where the ball traveled more than 20 yards in the air. They're a dink-and-dunk offense now, and obviously it's been good enough to win Super Bowl, so I'm not knocking it. And the other place,
come on.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know where I'm going.
You have to go. There's only one place.
The Baltimore Ravens.
No.
What?
What are you talking about?
We got to talk before the show more.
No.
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens have the elite quarterback. They're going to lose Odell Beckham.
Correct.
He made $15 million last year. Your best receiver's a rookie. Going to year 2, be Zay Flowers. So why wouldn't the Baltimore Ravens want to go get a deal done with the Mike Evans? They fit every single box that his agent said they want checked off.
I expect you more out of you. When we said things like this, one thing the Baltimore Ravens aren't good at right now is
what?
Throwing the football. We saw it in the AFC Championship.
Thus, the acquisition.
Well, you know what they do really well is running the football, which got them kicked out of the AFC Championship.
Because they didn't run it well.
Because they didn't run it well.
Yeah.
The bottom line is only one destination.
Hold on. Let's play the game here. Are you going NFC or AFC?
Oh, I'm going AFC.
You're going AFC, so you're taking out the entire NFC.
Yeah.
Are you going Justin Herbert?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
wow.
I was going Herbert.
You're not going 2. He's got 2 guys already. What elite AFC quarterback
We didn't mention. Look at me.
are you going
The
with?
Bills
How
got
can you
Diggs
not
wrapped
say
up.
C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans?
Oh, God.
How can you not say that?
I forgot about
What are
Willie
you
and
talking
the
about?
Texans.
The Texans have the cap space at 30+
Yes,
mil.
they do.
They have an elite quarterback in C.J. Stroud.
They got 2 receivers.
Yep, but they need a number 1. He's a number 1.
You don't think Nico became a number 1?
You think Nico
Or
Collins and
Tank
Tank
Dell?
Dell are better than Mike
Dude,
Evans?
I can't say they're better because
They're not even in the same stratosphere
I don't know
as
about
Mike Evans.
that. I
Craig,
think they got a great
I
combo.
consider you a big brain. That's dumb. They have Mike Evans is a gold jacket receiver.
I agree.
Tank Dell, who we just found out about this year.
I agree.
Nico Collins, who we didn't know who the hell he was this year, cannot hold a flag to Mike
Look,
Evans.
I can't compare stats, obviously, and I'm not going to try to. But when you take the eye test, and I saw when Tank Dell went down, what Nico Collins did for Houston, he's every bit of number 1.
And I watched Mike Evans with Baker Mayfield and Tom Brady be a top 5
I
receiver
agree.
year after
But
year.
here's the thing.
Bottom line.
Is C.J. Stroud an elite quarterback? Yes. That's the beginning of the quote from the agent.
Yes.
The end of the quote from the agent is Super Bowl contender. That's where I would push back. I know you feel.
What division are they playing in?
I know you feel they're a Super Bowl contender. When I
arguably
think
the
about
number
the
1.
Texans, do I say they're a Mike Evans away from a Super Bowl?
100%.
I don't know.
Cap
By the
space
way,
and defense
I'm not even
and
sure they
quarterback.
win the division with Mike Evans as a wide receiver. I'm not sure they do that. I'm not sure.
Who's beating the Texans
I mean,
in their
they
division?
barely won the division this year. Right? They got lucky because Jacksonville fell off the face of the earth.
Everybody get lucky.
Fair enough. But let's not talk about the Houston Texans now like they're world beaters and
Have you met
they're
Willie?
the team to beat in the AFC.
They are in
That's
their
crazy,
division.
Todd.
100%.
There's as good a chance of not making the playoffs next
They're
year.
definitely making the playoffs.
If you
next year.
think Super Bowl contenders, I say Chiefs, Ravens,
Texans.
Bills, and then there's a gap.
Texans.
There's a gap.
Go ahead and
then
say
the
Texans.
Texans.
You put Mike Evans with C.J. Stroud in that offense,
And I'll tell you,
and cap space.
And I'll tell you something else.
Revamped
You're
offensive
taking a
line.
big leap of faith on, and we've seen it before. Quarterback has a great year.
Sure.
We all get hot and bothered. He's the next guy. Put all your money on that guy, and all of a sudden, year 2 comes around, and it's like, well, not so good.
You think year 2 is going to
Struggle.
hold C.J. Stroud back?
I think C.J. Stroud had a phenomenal rookie season.
Phenomenal.
And I can't imagine him going backwards, but I'd be lying if I hadn't seen it before.
Of course.
I've seen guys regress a little bit. Of course.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of things in the strip club. That don't mean we
figure
have
out-
the same experience.
Defenses figure out what you do well. Now, Mike Evans on
Really, you wanna
Houston.
explain? What about
No, I told you, we've seen a lot of things in the strip club, but that don't mean we had the same experience.
I tried to
Bottom-
ignore that.
I'm just saying.
They brought it back up.
My point is, just because you can't, what you see out of the RG3 or any other, or Andrew Luck, any type of one-year wonders,
Yeah.
and you're going to say now C.J. Stroud is going to fall in line
I'm
to
not
the same
saying yes, I'm
quarterback.
just saying when I read what the agent said, we are only going to play with an elite quarterback.
So right now the question is, do you not believe C.J. Stroud is an elite quarterback
that
right
last
now?
part.
He's
winning a
He's
Super
due
Bowl.
for over 4,000 yards.
I don't know if he's elite yet. He had 1 year.
Oh.
He had 1 year.
Craig.
He's a really good quarterback. Am I saying he's elite? See, to me, the word elite is an action word. And I go back to the days of a young Eli Manning being asked the question, are you an elite quarterback? Yes, I am. We all scoffed at it and go, no, you're not. You suck. And then he won 2 Super Bowls, and he proved us all wrong.
Correct.
Right? But C.J. Stroud is on his way. I'm not going to anoint the kid after 1 year an elite
It
quarterback
wasn't just
in
one
the
year.
NFL.
He
reason to
broke
doubt
records this year.
He's given
Different.
us no reason to doubt him. It'd be
Fair
one thing
enough.
if he has up and down years, but he's
100%.
given us no reason to doubt him.
And
that
why
one
wouldn't you give
season
your
that he
young
played.
quarterback a security blanket of Mike Evans like
Because you got 2 wide receivers already.
Not the quality of Mike
And
Evans.
Schultz.
I still think it makes more sense for him to go to Baltimore, for him to go.
Kansas
I'll
City.
just keep it in the AFC. Kansas City,
City.
Baltimore, Buffalo make a lot more sense for me if I'm Mike Evans
Kansas
than
City.
it does go.
We get down to Houston, baby.
Wow.
I'd take you someplace.
Yeah.
Shout out Twin Peaks.
Is that a ski resort?
Treasure.
G5, Treasures, what up?
Willie's got funny money at G5 Treasures.
Hey,
and
man.
Peaks.
Memories
All
happen
good?
there.
Candy, what's up? What else you got, Jacoby?
I'm going around the diamond, buddy. Around the diamond, Cracker.
Oh, yeah.
Lean on him.
It's almost. It's almost baseball season, and I've gone 24 hours without hearing a story about how Nike messed up the New Jerseys, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Juan Soto on fire, 3 home runs, 9 at-bats for the New York Yankees. 1-year deal, don't forget Juan Soto in New York. There's talk right now that he will get on the open market if he has the same type of year he's had throughout his young career. And I'm not making this up. Are you ready?
No.
There is talk of a 15-year billion dollar contract for Juan Soto a year from now. And he becomes
there you
a
going
free
out.
agent.
There you going out talking about something, putting legs on something. That's what you just did.
We also understand this dude loves surfing the free agent market. He talking about when he was with the Nationals, he rejected their offer. He said, "No, I'm gonna hit the market."
He turned out $500 million.
Right. So he's
as a 22-year-old.
Yeah, he's 25. He's arguably the best left-handed batter in the game right now, without a doubt.
He stays healthy. It's 50+ home runs, and maybe the Yankees win a World Series.
And to think we got Aaron Judge back in him.
Ooh. And a Stanton without the muscles.
Little skinny Giancarlo.
Yeah. I don't know if the Yankees lose a game.
I'm with you.
I'm just putting it out there. It's never happened before.
Yankees may go undefeated this year. Let's be honest.
Are you a Cub guy or a White Sox guy?
White Sox.
You're white. South side.
I guarantee you the Yankees are going to lose a game.
So fair, very fair.
They're going to lose a game.
Fair.
A game. 161-1.
Okay. We know they're going to lose a game.
I want to thank the Black Ken Rosenthal for the inside.
Y'all just saying no, they're going to go undefeated this year. I don't think so.
Real quick, I got a story you're going to like, Timmy.
No, I don't think so.
I got a baseball story out of Philadelphia.
I know I'm not going to like
You may remember last year, Philadelphia did right by their fans. They had $1 hot dog night.
Yeah.
You may also remember that the fans were reacted by throwing hot dogs at each other.
Flying glizzies?
I mean, they only cost $1, so there was like a hot dog war at a Phillies game. So the Phillies announced over the weekend they are discontinuing $1 hot dog night. Instead, they're doing BOGO, so buy one, get one hot dog night, meaning they will sell no hot dogs.
Oh, man.
At all.
Imagine leaving that game without a couple of teeth, right?
What happened?
Trying to catch that. It's rough.
That might be one of those things you talked about seeing at one of those clubs,
yeah,
right?
There you go.
Yeah. Anyhow, and that's your baseball coverage.
Here you go.
With this reminder, the World Series is on Fox. So we're
the Yankees will be there undefeated.
excited about that.
Yankees.
The undefeated
Yankees.
Undefeated Yankees.
Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers.
Can you imagine the undefeated Yankees losing Game 1 to Ohtani and the Dodgers?
Yes.
That's pretty.
I'd be there all about it. All right, we got more NFL stuff coming your way. The Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow coming back. Are they now again the biggest threat to Kansas City's attempt to three-peat? We'll get into that.
Probably not.
Right after this.
Why are we talking about it?
Hey, just real quick before we get back to the NFL. NBA yesterday, Timmy, you played. The Phoenix Suns were playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. Well, there's a guard on Oklahoma City, not a household name for a lot of you that don't watch NBA every night. His name is Josh Giddey, all right? And Phoenix decided a very unique, interesting defensive alignment when Giddey had the rock just outside of the three-point line. Let me just show it to you real quick if I can here, and let's have the Hall of Famer break it down. Freeze it right there, guys. All right, so Giddey's got the rock.
Right.
What do you call that defense that Phoenix is putting on him?
Let him shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him shoot. Because he can't shoot. I saw him against the Dallas Mavericks and miss a bunch of shots.
So that's called the let him shoot defense.
Let him shoot defense.
All right, so we're going to let
shoot. That's embarrassing to have that done to you.
All right, first off, if you're Giddey, don't you take a couple more dribbles closer before you shoot?
No. They teach you now, the analytics teach you that mid-range jump shots are not good.
They're no longer
Threes,
good.
Layups, and free throws.
That's it.
That's it.
15-foot jumpers are gone.
They gone. I mean, you back in the day, you could score 50 or 100 points by shooting mid-range jump shots.
Well, this is what Josh Giddey did from three. Oh.
But how many?
To be fair, he hit the rim, though, Timmy.
All right.
He did get rim.
He hits the rim now. It just doesn't go in.
Yeah.
He hits the rim.
Is he waving people off?
No, and he practiced this all the time.
I bet he does. But here's the thing. That is so insulting.
That's very insulting.
Like he's an NBA player, and they're giving him 15 feet.
Every team does
that. He's a guard.
Oh, but actually, he's a guard, and he's getting guarded by the center.
Right.
So the center is like, yeah, we playing the zone on him. Let him shoot. They don't even go out to him when they pass him the ball.
Right.
They're like, oh, that's him. Let him shoot. Get him. Go ahead.
And again, he's a guard. Most guards can shoot. Right? Not some better than others,
He
obviously.
shoots 33%. Like, he's not shooting 20%.
But like you think, like you're a guard.
Well, it's going down.
Yeah. Because of this.
But you know, earlier in the season, it was like at 40, 41. Now it's shrinking.
And the craziest thing is, again, he's on a really good team, so he's not asked to score all that much.
Good player.
Oklahoma City
he's
is
a really good player.
really good team.
He
and
just can't shoot.
A good player. He does a lot of other things well. But like, if you bring the ball up and the defense is like, yo, shoot it. Like, you have to shoot it.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care if you go 0 for 40. You cannot give up that shot if you're an NBA player.
You make it sound like he's Chuck Noll.
The last 3 weeks, last 3 weeks, they've been giving him that shot, especially on baselines in the corner. He's been missing all of them.
Yeah, I love it. The let him shoot defense.
Yes.
Thank you, Timmy. Let's get back to some football. Jacoby's got first.
That's why I'm here for.
And football, we start with the Niners. Remember, they fired their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes, and they've hired Nick Sorensen in that spot. However, they have hired former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley as the assistant head coach. Is all of this change and movement with the defensive coaching a concern for the NFC champion 49ers?
I don't think so. I think they didn't like Wilkes from the minute he got there, which is
unfair.
Agreed.
Because not to cut you off, because he adopted their defense. He never implemented his defense.
Yeah, I don't know if they had a lot of time to either, and because everyone came back and they were a badass defense. So Wilkes was kind of set up to be the scapegoat there. And that's kind of the story of his career, unfortunately. He was kind of scapegoated in Carolina after doing a great job as interim head coach. Had a great defense from a talent standpoint. And we know what happened. I'm always concerned when you hire two guys to do the one job. Now, Staley, I know his title is assistant head coach, right? And Sorensen, the other guy, is now the actual defensive coordinator. Right. But Staley's reputation, although he disproved it as the head coach of the Chargers, is that he was a defensive mastermind that helped the Rams win a Super Bowl, which is why he got the Charger job in the first place. What was the biggest bugaboo of the Chargers the last 3 years?
Defense.
Especially fourth quarter defense. So I understand Sorensen getting the job, and I don't know a lot about him, but bringing Staley in to help out on defense doesn't seem like it helps.
Well, I think the biggest reason why they hired Sorensen was because of the cover 3 scheme the Niners run. They didn't want to change the schemes, and he seems to be like a master of it because he learned it in Seattle. The overall, to your point, is it's not the scheme, it's the players, right? When you got Nick Bosa flat out saying, hey, man, we were unprepared, we feel like we never had an answer for what happened to us in the Super Bowl, that's the cause of concern. What happened to once Greenlaw got kicked out of the Super Bowl, this defense was down. So the secondary was a botch work. So I think right now, I think the scheme is fine. It's just the guys on the field you have running this.
And the other part of this that you do need to know is that this is a Shanahan decision. You know, it's not like a lot of other teams. Like when Dan Quinn went to Dallas, he was also associate head coach and defensive coordinator. That was a Jerry Jones decision. Partially it also goose, Mike McCarthy a little bit, that if you don't get the job done, we've got a guy who can take over for you. This is a Shanahan decision with, of course, John Lynch and Jed York, blessing it. So this is not one of those deals where, hey, we're bringing in a former NFL head coach, we're giving him this fancy title because we want to goose Shanahan. This is a Shanahan decision because he thinks it makes their defense even better.
Moving on to second and football, some interesting reports out of Atlanta regarding the Falcons and the quarterback position. Reportedly, they would prefer Kirk Cousins under center than Justin Fields.
Smart.
What do you think will happen with Fields this offseason?
I think Fields gets traded. I think I'm at the point now where I've convinced myself that Chicago's going to trade him. We could argue whether they should or not, but I do think he's going to get traded because they'll get a bunch of picks back for him, and they can go ahead and take Caleb Williams and add 2 or 3 more players. And I think it's probably the prudent thing to do from a financial standpoint also. You kick that huge quarterback contract down 3 more seasons before you'd have to pick up the 5th-year option of Caleb Williams, assuming that's the kid that they're going to draft. So I think it makes sense. And plus, even though we saw Justin Fields get better and better, to be fair, once DJ Moore became his go-to target, he looked like a different quarterback. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be better than what I saw the last couple months of this past season, meaning he's competent, but he's not a top 10 franchise quarterback. Well, Atlanta hasn't had a quarterback since Matt Ryan left, right?
Facts.
And they need a quarterback. What I'm trying to figure out is, as much as I like Kirk Cousins a lot, and Kirk Cousins makes a lot of sense for a lot of teams that feel like we've got everything else, we need a quarterback. I don't think Atlanta's in that spot personally. And number two, you can't forget the fact that Kirk Cousins in his mid-30s tore his Achilles in week 8. Meaning, I don't care what dolphin sex videos he watches, what hyperbaric chambers he sleeps in, or if he makes love to Aaron Rodgers' doctor. The reality is that he's not going to be ready to play football until the earliest mid-October. So now you're saying, I'm going to bring in a mid-30-year-old quarterback, I'm going to give him $35 million a year, and he's not going to take the field until midway through the season? If I'm a Falcons fan, that's a tough sell. Yeah. I would rather take Justin Fields, a young quarterback who, yes, is going to have a big number attached to him because of that fifth-year option that Chicago picked up. But, man, I do not want a 36-year-old guy coming off a torn Achilles who's not going to play till mid-October. I'd rather roll the dice with Justin Fields. And I'll tell you another guy I would look at, and that's Baker Mayfield.
Baker!
I know Baker has said that he's going back to Tampa, and I believe he probably is. But I would pick up the phone and find out. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, for me, I think you, like I say, if you got a chance to get Kirk Cousins, you go get Kirk Cousins because what his numbers represent, what he represents. I get 35 years old, coming off Achilles, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, he is instant offense. The biggest concern with the Falcons going forward is that you had all these pieces and Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson, and none of them popped off the tape. Rob, because of the quarterback position. I understand Justin Fields being young and he has a whole lot of football ahead of him. But right now, you need instant offense because of the division you're playing. So if you got to wait week 8 to get a guy who could throw over 4,000 yards and spread it around and lead your offense down the field, and you have a defense to back him up, you go get him. Because right now with Justin Fields, we know what he can do physically, but can he win? We haven't seen that yet.
And I tell you, I don't want to get too convoluted on this with Kirk Cousins, leaving Minnesota, not leaving Minnesota. But you better be damn sure you've got Justin Jefferson locked up if you're going to now play footsies with other quarterbers.
They won't sign. I mean, he's holding up the whole thing because they could sign Harrison Smith, their safety, Danielle Hunter, who's on the free market. You talking about Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson's not signing anything until he figures out what's going on with
Nor should he, by the way.
Correct.
Moving on to third and football. Remember that weird Joe Burrow wrist injury on that Thursday night game against the Ravens? Well, the latest is that he will not be back until mid-May when he will be cleared to play football. If Joe Burrow is healthy, are the Bengals the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC?
Well, them in Baltimore, I think, are 1 and 1A, and then I think the Bills, depending on what they do, would be 1B. Oh, yeah, God forbid.
Oh, yeah.
God forbid.
How could you not say the Texans, Craig?
God forbid I mention the Texans.
You want to talk about the Jets who are 4-11, have been to the playoffs for 13 years, but you don't want to talk about a team that went to the second round of playoffs last.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, then I guess why you didn't.
I mean, they're not the number one threat to Kansas City.
I'm just saying,
they might be the third threat or the fourth threat. They're not number one, and they sure as hell aren't number 2. What was your question? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to figure this out. Joe Burrow hurt his hand, right?
No, his wrist.
His wrist? Well, it's the same thing.
Hold the ball.
Right. I can't believe he's not ready to play football like today.
Craig, he tore a ligament.
Yeah.
You never tore a ligament before?
I have in my ankles.
And how long did it take you?
Well, I get back out there. I'm that guy.
Okay. Now you're different.
Different generation.
Different generation.
Okay.
I played on cement.
Yeah.
All right. Blacktop was my gym.
Oh, yeah.
No, but when I saw that in my head, I'm like, what do you mean he can't throw a football till mid-May? I'm surprised he's not throwing the ball already. I didn't realize how significant that injury was. But look, assuming the repaired ligament in his throwing wrist is all good, and it's even maybe bionic now, then the Bengals are right there. The Bengals are as good as any team in football. If Joe Burrow can play, and that's been the rub on Joe Burrow's short career, is that he gets hurt a lot, and he misses a lot of games. And this is another example of that. So I'm kind of couching here by saying, if you're telling me the wrist and the arm and the hand are 100%, then they are the biggest threat to Kansas City.
If you're not the best team in your division, I don't think you can be the biggest threat.
Thank you.
To me, it's the Ravens.
I think with Joe Burrow, they might be the best team.
You think so?
100%.
That Ravens
so?
defense is so good. If they bring back Madubuike, which doesn't look like they will.
They may be.
Go ahead, Tim. What's up?
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So, who is the biggest threat to Kansas City?
Is Joe Burrow healthy?
Yeah.
Then I go like this in this order. If everybody's healthy, knowing what I know today, no draft, no free agent movings at all today, right? It goes like this. It goes Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo, the Jets.
So you said the Jets. Hold on.
Those are the four biggest threats to come out of the AFC.
And you know what? Kansas City is not worried
I almost
about.
ripped that paper.
None
Look
of
at
it.
Willie.
Kansas City is not worried about none of
And
the
they shouldn't be, but just real play it out. I got Joe Burrow. I got the MVP Lamar Jackson. I got Josh Allen, and I've got Aaron Rodgers. They would be the four biggest threats, and fifth would be Tua and Miami.
Oh, no.
Those
Now you're trying to poke the bear.
And then six.
Now you're trying to poke the bear.
Sixth would be Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence.
Nah, you won't be
And
that guy.
seventh would be Anthony Richardson
Oh,
and the Colts. And then eighth.
Okay.
Eighth.
Okay.
My man.
Steelers.
Eighth would be the Steelers because they might get Justin Fields. There you go. And ninth, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
Got to go with the Chargers.
Right.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and then
Saquon.
10th, Antonio Pearson, the great job he's going
Right,
to do
right,
with
right.
Aiden O'Connell.
Houston,
who am I missing?
Houston is
Who am I
not even
missing?
factored in there.
Oh,
No.
yeah, 11th.
Okay,
11th.
Who's 11th there, Craig?
11th, yeah, 11th.
Who are you going to say? Let's who's 11th.
He just put 11.
Yeah.
To be fair, I ran out of
Moving on to our final fourth.
Houston.
Oh, there
you go.
There you go.
Fourth and football. Marvin
Pick your
Harrison
guy.
Jr. straight up did not attend his scheduled media availability at the Combine. He was expected to, but just kind of no-showed it. Is this a red flag for one of the best prospects we've seen in quite some time?
Yeah, I don't think so. I know a lot of talking heads want to turn this into some kind of, cause celeb now where, you can't trust Marvin Harrison Jr. The dude's been the best wide receiver in college football for back-to-back years now. Don't forget, he also grew up in an NFL family. There's no secrets. His dad, I'm sure, like you did for your son, has walked him through this aspect of coming out of college and going to the draft. And I think we still want to pigeonhole kids in college the way we did in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s and the turn of the century. And it's just not the same. The NCAA is different. The kids are for sure different and how they approach things. And they've been empowered now, rightfully so. A, from a standpoint financially, be able to make money while they're in college. And now the notion of, the NCAA comes calling, you have to answer the yes, sir, and a no, sir, and get your yes where they want you to be. For the top guys, the Combine's a waste of time.
Yeah.
For the top guys.
Yep. Yes,
Now,
yes.
if I'm a kid coming out of Hofstra, if I'm a kid coming out of UTEP, a kid that's not on TV every single day, a kid that's got the goods, but no one's really seen him play in person, maybe on tape, then the Combine's a great tool to set yourself apart against other kids that are going to be drafted. But do we really need, as NFL scouts or fans, to watch Marvin Harrison in gym shorts run a 40-yard dash or show that he can run a couple patterns and catch the ball? I've seen it every Saturday for multiple years now. I think nothing of it. It is not a red flag. And if I was drafting and had a quarterback and needed a wide receiver, I don't even blink. That's the guy you take.
Yeah, and also, if you're a young guy like him, because we live in the social media world, like the scrutiny he would face for giving a wrong answer or answer that's not accepted by the ether, if you will, it's just more BS and distraction from.
I got you.
Really?
Come on vacation.
Come on break.
So my point is, it's a smart job by him not answering the questions.
Yeah, it's like we get stuck in this pattern of, well, you better do exactly what we say and how we say it and when we say it.
Yeah.
And there's guys that don't need to do it.
He should have just told him I'm not coming instead of telling him I'm
Okay,
coming.
that's
and not
fair.
coming. I mean,
That's
that's
Yeah,
what I
and
would
don't
do.
forget, a lot of these guys, I can't speak for Marvin because I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
Rather
that
than
was
do the
rude. That was very
combine,
rude.
they do the pro day at their school, their alma mater. But Timmy does make a good point. You don't have to go, but you can let somebody know.
Right. Yeah,
That's a fine line where you don't have to be a douche about it.
Right.
Just tell them I'm not coming.
Exactly.
As opposed to
And they will
saying,
respect you
I'll
more.
be there at noon
Right.
and then no show.
Whoops.
That's a fair point. Again, it's not a red flag to me.
No, it's not a red flag.
But
But I'm just saying,
It's a
just be
respectable
respectful.
thing to do.
Exactly.
I mean, all right. We got much more coming up, including all the things that we learned this past weekend in the sports world. And somehow, some way, I don't participate in these meetings.
Yeah, okay.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to deliver the goods for the New York Jets? We've got some all-season proof that the answer is yes.
What good is it, though?
Proof.
Hey,
Get learned.
We like to get learned. That's right. These are all the things that we learned after another amazing sports weekend. The first thing I learned comes from the NBA, and that is that your favorite player, LeBron James, has requested from Adam Silver now that every basket he scores, they stop the game and celebrate it as a new record.
No, he did not say that.
No, he did.
No, he
He said not free.
No, he did not.
He said not free.
He actually texted.
No, he did not say that.
He wants to be celebrated now every time.
Y'all not going to do that to LeBron. Okay, let's celebrate 40,000 points.
Why?
Why? Because that's never been done.
Why not celebrate 39,000?
We'll celebrate 40,000, 40,002,
No,
40,004,
we just got just 40,000.
Well, I just want to let you know that he's gone to Adam Silver.
No, he did not.
And I don't want to say demanded, that's strong.
Yeah.
But strongly suggested.
Carton,
Yes.
we're not going to let you do that to LeBron James. Stop
So
that.
every time he makes a basket, they stop the game, they take the ball out of play, they drop a banner, and he gets honored as the greatest scorer.
They drop a banner, too?
That's right.
Confetti.
That's right. Yeah, the
Everybody
whole
gets
thing.
a bobblehead.
Yeah, confetti, girls, the whole thing.
Man,
The second thing I learned this week, it happened late Saturday night. Sydney Sweeney ended wokeism on television.
What happened?
For all of us late Saturday night. She was hosting Saturday Night Live, a show that nobody watches, but that's how she looked when she ended it. You want to go close up on that, guys, or not?
Nobody?
Get close up on that?
Anybody not going to
I watch Saturday Night Live. I think it's a great show.
God bless America.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you, Sydney. Wokeism is now dead on TV. The third thing I learned this weekend was that number 8, my guy right there behind me, my starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, is already in midseason form. A couple weeks ago, his first round of golf since tearing the Achilles, hole-in-one on the first par 3. Right there, you see it. Just, I'm not BSing you. That's a 220-yard par 3. Nothing but the bottom of the cup from my guy. Hang on, Timmy. And then yesterday, Aaron Rodgers was out there with a bow and arrow. All right, little crossbow action.
Indoors.
And you know exactly what my quarterback did. First time he pulled the feather back and let it ride. Boom, bullseye.
First time on camera.
As far as I know, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, the hole-in-one, the crossbow bullseye. My man is ready to win a lot of football games for the New York Jets.
Well, we know he's an accurate quarterback.
Right.
I mean, can he just stay healthy for us the next year?
I'm sure he's going to stay healthy.
So we don't
Timmy,
fall
what's
under
up?
pressure.
This does not
So when you
have
said
nothing
you
to
had
do
proof?
with football.
Yeah, no, it shows
said
he's
you had
ready.
proof.
That's proof.
I think he's going to have a great.
Accuracy in what?
Come on, the guy's hitting darts like bullseye with a crossbow?
It took,
You know
I
what that
guarantee
is?
you, it took him about an hour to get that together.
Look, I took 9 shots at a turkey vulture with a paintball gun this weekend and only hit him once.
Really?
The fact that he hit the bullseye on his first pullback shows you.
It wasn't his first.
It's called, listen, Timmy.
It's
You
called
know
TV.
this.
It's called TV.
You know this because to
You
get to
can
where
alter your camera.
to get to where you got to in the NBA, you have to be a true competitor. Meaning, whether it's checkers, spades, dominoes, basketball, ping pong, walking,
Whatever.
you compete.
Yeah.
You want to win.
Yes.
That's what I got out of my quarterback.
Yeah.
The man wants to win. He's ready to go.
Your choice of games felt very urban. I'm just going to say that. Domino, spades.
It's a very special year in my
He also
life.
said walking. To be fair. He also said
I'm
walking.
just saying.
I can't be beaten at spades. I'll just put it out there right
Oh,
now.
you gotta come
You
by.
want to play Boo-Ray? I'll take you down to Boo-Ray too. I'm good either way. All right.
I got a table for you.
These are card games guys play on airplanes or in prison. Happens. I'm not gonna lie about it. I mean, I got pretty good at it. All right. Sorry.
Got a new friend.
The other, they all grew up in your town. All right. The other thing I learned this weekend, and I'm tired of all the hate out there. It really it's starting to bother me. I don't know why, on a personal level, but can we acknowledge, let's applaud, Caitlin Clark is the greatest scorer in college basketball history, whether you got a penis or not. She is the all-time leading scorer.
Facts.
In college.
We lost Tim. Yes. We lost Tim, everybody.
In
Tim
college basketball. And it just needs to be celebrated.
Is this a family show?
No.
Yeah. It needs to be celebrated.
Who's hating on her?
I see people out there trying to put hate on her name.
Why? Who's
sitting next to one?
Am I sitting next to one?
Oh, Pistol Pete did it in 3 years. He
Pistol
didn't have
Pete
three
did
pointers.
He did. Same thing.
That's not her fault.
It's not her fault.
Right. She didn't make the rules.
She did
All
not
this
make the
young
rules.
woman did was go to Iowa, dominate the women's game, and let's be honest about it. She did something that is very hard to do. As much as we respect, women athletes, regardless of what the sport is, there's not a lot of interest amongst many men in the women's sports world. There just isn't. Whether we like it or not, that happens to be a fact. That's not a knock, that's a fact. Caitlin Clark has made me interested in women's college basketball. The only other person to do that recently was Dawn Staley at South Carolina and their attempt, which they finally won a championship last year. But Caitlin Clark is good for every little girl out there that wants to be a basketball player.
True.
Now uses her as a role model. She's good for sport, and she's good for the women's game because we're talking about it. And we're talking about it for the right reasons. We're not talking about a transgendered swimmer who's upsetting the apple cart, whether you agree with that or disagree with it. We're talking about a woman basketball player who has transcended her sport and has done something no one else, man or woman, has done, and she should be celebrated for what she's accomplished on the court as a basketball player.
Yeah, listen, I think she's a phenomenal player. I understand she scored 35 points in 130 games. She's an absolute beast. I get all that. My point is, I'm only interested when she goes against LSU or South Carolina because as great as you are, it's all about your rivals. So for me, yeah, it's great now.
It's great.
But I wanted, the reason we celebrate sports is because of the opponent. So when she goes against other big dogs, that's when I'll tune in.
But think about all the big dogs in the women's college basketball game now. I can name so many more.
I love watching Juju play.
Yeah, Juju and Angel Reese and Cameron Brink and Paige Buckets and Caitlin Clark. There are more star power in the women's college game now than there is in the men's college game right now.
Yep. Anyway, so acknowledgement, the greatness of Caitlin Clark, and hopefully she has a great tournament run because that again would be great. And if she's playing South Carolina in the final, we're watching it.
Yeah,
and that's a
or
fact.
LSU.
Or LSU. We watch.
You know?
All right, the next thing I learned this weekend, I only learned it a few minutes ago, to be honest, and that is that viewers apparently really did miss us and frankly got tired of the same 1 hour special aired at the same exact time every single day last week. So here's a random gal named Lorraine. So happy y'all are back this week. Makes getting ready for work so much better. Love Willie.
Thank you.
Love Willie.
#Love Willie.
To be fair, she met Willie at the Nickelodeon Park in Mexico. Here's another one. Keep it simple. Where the F have you guys been? Last week sucked without my daily dose. So thank you. Nice to know 2 people out of 3 billion on Twitter actually miss us and like us.
3 billion?
Another thing I learned literally during the last commercial break was that tomorrow is the actual deadline for you to put the franchise tag on an NFL player. Now, I want to be clear about this. It don't mean the guy's got to sign.
No.
It just means if you want a franchise tag, a Saquon Barkley, Jacobs, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, and on and on and on. Deontay Whitfield Jr., Snead, obviously. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock is the deadline to do it. So on tomorrow's show, we'll go through all the top names, and we'll play the Tag You're It game.
But Craig,
who gets tagged, who doesn't.
Antoine Winfield Jr. for the Bucs, huge. If they can get him together, who knows?
Yep, so that'll be tomorrow, but the deadline is 4 o'clock. And I literally, I'll admit it, learned that 8 minutes ago. So I just want to, now that I know it.
Did somebody tell you?
I argued against it, to be honest. Well, because there's confusion as to when the guy signs the franchise tag. So the team's deadline to tell you you've been designated as a franchise tag player is tomorrow, but the dude don't have to sign that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who was confused?
I was.
Okay.
I was.
That's how you say it.
I'm not going to lie about it. Right. I was confused. And the last thing I learned this weekend is that Jerry Jones saying, again, for the umpteenth time, we're all in, is kind of, in a weird way, like my wife saying, I don't think you're all in.
Oh, there you go. Right.
It never changes.
Right.
And it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's all about positive feedback. So it's,
You know what I mean? We'll have some things to work on this offseason.
yeah.
Sadly, it was.
Right.
But that's
So you don't know if you're all in?
Well,
Jimmy,
depends.
I'm just asking.
I mean, everybody has a past.
I'm
Everybody has a past.
I'm going to stop it there.
Yeah.
We might not have a future if we don't go to break.
So it's a lot of talk and nothing ever changes.
Right.
That's kind of the point I was making there. Hey, look, it says there, can anybody stop the Celtics? They beat the Golden State Warriors by 52. We'll get into them right after this.
We got some big breaking news here this morning on the Carton Show. That man right there, Mike Evans, is not leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He signed a 2-year, $52 million extension with the Bucs that includes $35 million guaranteed. We spent all morning speculating about where he was going to end up. We didn't think he would stay with the Bucs. What does this mean to you, Craig Carton?
Means he took less money than he would have gotten. Which tells me that Baker Mayfield's also coming back. That should be a lock now. He wouldn't have re-signed there for a minute, let alone 2 more years if there was a question about who his quarterback was going to be. So I think this is a tag team deal. This shows you also, for anyone that's got a bad word to say about Baker Mayfield, this is proof that Baker Mayfield's beloved by guys. Because if you're Mike Evans and you could have gone to really any really good situation and probably gotten a longer-term contract and even more guaranteed money based on this brilliant career of yours, and you decide to come back for, what did you say, 35 guaranteed?
35 guaranteed, 2 years.
He could have gotten more than that. There's no doubt in my mind that he would have gotten close to the Devontae Adams deal and maybe made $100 million over the course of the next 4+ years. So this tells me that Baker Mayfield's a buck. Take him off the free agent market. So that's bad news for New England, bad news for Atlanta, and maybe Chicago. Other teams that might be looking for a quarterback or trading their quarterback. And it shows you that there still is, for some guys, value in playing your entire career with one team. And I love that as a fan. One of the worst things that happen to fans is the fact that the guy you root for so much 3 or 4 years into his career is playing for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So Mike Evans staying in Tampa is great for the sport, it's great for Tampa, and it solidifies the fact that Baker Mayfield will be the next signing they announce.
Yeah, and it makes me question, does he really believe he's going to win another Super Bowl? Mm. You know what I mean? Because I'm being honest, even if you're a casual football fan, you don't believe the Bucs are going to the New Orleans and win the Super Bowl next year,
But don't
right?
forget, the NFC is not as hard as the AFC.
Correct.
There's no reason to think you can't replicate the division title because it's still a weak division.
Yeah, but
meaning you got a home playoff game, which they won last year, and then second-round game against Detroit, against Philly, against anyone not named San Francisco, and you've got a legitimate shot, if you're a division winner in the NFC, of at least having the realistic dream of getting to the NFC Championship game. That's on the table.
I agree, but I also think if you're Mike Evans, I think the fact that he did stay away from those contending teams, you say he could have landed on the Chiefs, he could have went to the Texans, there's a lot of teams he could have landed with. Him staying at home makes me solely feel that he just wanted it. He couldn't leave. He couldn't leave Tampa Bay. He understands that next year is going to be a toss-up.
Sure.
But overall, man, if it's about cementing your legacy, he got the bag and he's going to walk off into the sunset.
What did his agent come out and say? He wants to play with an elite quarterback and a Super Bowl contender. And I got to say, I don't know if Baker Mayfield is an elite quarterback.
No.
And I don't think that the Bucs are a Super Bowl contender. This tells me that he's comfortable there, and he did take a hometown discount. We always say, he's not going to take a hometown discount. He took a hometown discount for consistency, for the partnership with Baker Mayfield. Yeah. He had a great year this year, and so did Baker. And he said, you know what, we're going to do this again. And maybe I'm not going to win another Super Bowl, and that's fine with me. I've got one.
Yeah, it's to be honest, though, I'm trying to process it as it's just happening now. It also doesn't make any sense. Like, this is the one shot you've had your entire career to be an unrestricted free agent. Go play for a team that, according to your agent, has all those boxes you want checked, a lead quarterback chance to win the Super Bowl, et cetera. And again, I like Baker Mayfield a lot. But if you compare him to the other teams that we discussed earlier, the Bills, the Texans, the Ravens,
Jets,
the Chiefs, the Jets, those guys have quarterbacks who, as good a year as Baker Mayfield had, and to his credit, he had a really good year. He doesn't hold a candle to those guys and their accomplishments thus far in their NFL careers. So I don't understand what the rush was for Mike Evans. Why not experience free agency for a day or two, a minute or two, a month or two, before you can always go back to Tampa? So I'm confused by the timing of it and the dollar amounts.
I'm going to be honest. I thought the Texans was a lot, considering that he is from Texas.
Sure.
They had the money, they have the quarterback, and they have enough around them where they can actually make a legit run. When I look at a deal like this solely has to be him sitting down with the wife like, hey, you don't want to move, do you? And she's like, no. The kids are good in school? Okay, then we stay in Tampa. That's what happened.
I was going to say Tampa Bay.
You know what I mean?
Tampa is very nice.
Yeah, and look, there's no state income tax. I know that's part of it.
Yeah.
Tampa's a lovely place to be.
Yes.
Houston
is the same way. Houston, no taxes, and,
Houston's like the San Francisco of Texas.
Stop
Let's not get into it.
Stop it.
That
Until you hung out, eating, and actually dealt with the people of Houston, you can't say that.
Okay, we'll talk off air for
Okay.
sure. That being said, this puts a real chink in the armor of teams that were targeting Mike Evans. And that includes the Jets, it includes the Kansas City Chiefs, where he made so much sense for, and all the other teams that we've discussed, because he was the best wide receiver that was going to be available. So again, good for him. If a dude wants to stay home. That's very powerful.
Yes.
I don't want to sell my house or move. I don't deal with all the stuff, kids, whatever it might be.
Very comfortable with where he's at.
Yeah, like this is my town.
Yes.
I'm the biggest rock star in Tampa.
Exactly.
All that kind of stuff goes along with it. But my gut is that there was a lot more money out there if he had taken the time to see free agency through.
It's about what's comfortable.
True.
That's
can't buy that. I agree.
We have good memories of this Tampa Bay run because Baker Mayfield played well, because they beat the Eagles in Tampa, and because they played well against the Lions. But they were like 2 games away from missing the playoffs completely. Like, this team is
They
not.
had to rally towards the back 6 games. They
Look,
didn't get in.
they're not a great team. They're a good team that's in a bad division. That's not going to change next year. They're going to be a good team in a bad division. So, look, congratulations to Tampa. Now, if you're a team like the Jets, like the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe Baltimore, maybe the Texans, now it's like, now what do we do?
Who's the next?
Well, who's the next best available
That's good.
wide receiver?
To me, that's good for them because now they don't have to wait on Mike Evans. What is Mike Evans going to do? Every team, what is he going to sign at? Is he going to sign here? And they waiting on to sign different people. Now they go to plan B and get the other guys that they are looking for. And that's how it goes. And I'm happy that he signed back right now, and now he don't have to, make a decision or, all right, who's going to wine and dine me, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. I'm happy for him. He made a decision. He loves it there. His wife loves it there. And they got to go. They got to roll with the dice.
79 catches, 1,255 yards, 13 touchdowns was his regular season. He's a money receiver for 1,000 yards, and that was not the greatest offense in the world. He's got Godwin on the other side, so they make a good tandem from a wide receiving standpoint. But what he didn't do was what his agent said he was going to do.
Right. Sure.
And again, so what? Who cares? Like, he didn't lie to me. I don't care. But, if you're a Tampa fan, you're thrilled. If you're a Chiefs fan saying that's the major upgrade we need for the three-peat, it's disappointing. If you're a Jet fan thinking we were going to get him to compliment Garrett Wilson and play, of course, with Aaron Rodgers, disappointing. And any other team that felt like, boy, we get Mike Evans,
it's over. Yeah.
We're legit.
Yeah.
Very disappointing for them, especially because the numbers. 2-year deal, $52 million, and 35. You said that right?
Yep, 35
is guaranteed. I think he sold himself short financially, but my dad taught me a valuable lesson as a younger man: never count anybody else's money. And if that's good for him, that's good for him. We might laugh at it and go, "You're stupid," but if that's good for him and his family, that's good for him.
But you also have Calvin Ridley still out there. Justin
not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
That's
but
right.
there's still other quality receivers out there. Some teams can make it.
And I tell you what, if Jacksonville does part ways with Calvin Ridley because they don't want to give up that second-round draft pick to Atlanta or any of the other available free agent wide receivers not as good as Mike Evans staying in Tampa just raised you up financially, guarantee, and level of interest. Everybody just went up a full peg because Mike Evans is no longer available.
Moving on to another headline, and from some surprising news with Mike Evans to some unsurprising news from Jerry Jones, because he does this all the time. Guess what he did? He said that he's all in on this offseason with the Cowboys. Here he is from the Combine.
I've got my mind all in as far as we're going to do everything that we can do to have this year be as successful as it can be. And one of the reasons I feel good about it is because Dak is for sure our quarterback.
Okay, he's all in once again, Craig. What does this mean when Jerry Jones once again says he's all in?
Can we talk about Jerry's ghoulish-looking hands? Why do they look so damn big?
Because he's 82 years old.
But they look like,
what do you think old hands look like?
they look like the hamburger helper hands. They look all good. Look how big-ass hands.
I'd say that he looks not a day over 100.
He looks like an embattled Logan Roy.
He really does.
Succession reference there. Pick your nose.
Get out of there, Jerry.
Yeah, look, I like how he says, in my mind,
You're
we're
right.
all in. He said that.
In
And he
his
also
mind.
said, why do I feel so good about it?
Right.
Because Dak's coming back. Dak, of course, as you quite know by now, 1 year left on his deal. It's about $60 million against the cap. They're going to restructure because it's just smart business to restructure it and open up some funds to go acquire other pieces. But, on the heels of the Mike Evans news, he would have made a lot of sense in Dallas, for that matter, to complement, CeeDee Lamb. So I think a lot of teams out that may have been looking at Mike Evans, I don't know if the Cowboys were or they weren't, it opens up other possibilities now. But I'm a little tired, and I think if I'm a Cowboy fan, love Jerry Jones, love him. Glad he's been my owner. But I'm getting a little tired.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little tired of kind of the speak without the actions. Like, tell me you're all in. I think it's great that you're all in. His words, not mine. In my mind, how does that transfer itself to the real world? What free agents are we going to get, right? How are we spending our money? Because I know you got plenty of it. Because at 80 some odd years old, no disrespect, the window for you to be able to enjoy a team going on a championship run is coming to an end too.
Old ass.
Right.
Yeah. No,
With your ghoulish hands.
With your ghoulish ass hands.
Yeah.
All right. No, seriously.
Wow.
Look about what happened at the end of this. They got smacked up at the Green Bay Packers, right? Like, if you're a Cowboys fan, that's your last memory of the team that was 12-5 and 16-0 at home. If you're Jerry Jones, you have to look in the mirror and realize you've become tone deaf and somewhat numb to the fact that this team has not delivered year after year. They haven't been to Super Bowl 28 years, right? So for you to sit here and talk about you're all in when there's clear examples of what it means to be all in, finding a left tackle, revamping this defense, especially the defensive line, and getting some acquisitions that's going to make us get off the couch and watch you again. Like, you have to understand that the Dak talk it's dumb at this point because you can't do nothing with him. You just got to pay him and move on from him. What are you going to do about the other aspects of your team, especially when you got Mike Zimmer in the building right now?
Well, not just that. You need linebackers. You now need a starting left tackle.
Running
Smith is
running back.
gone. You
like,
need a
you gotta
running
go
back.
shopping, Jerry. What are you shopping for
And
right
there's
now?
12 of them available, including number 26 from the New York Giants, who I may have seen a couple days ago talking about.
You said he smiled at you.
He smiled at me.
Yeah.
He smiles at me. That's what we do.
That helps.
But yeah, it's I said it a couple weeks ago. There's this mystique we have around the Dallas Cowboys that is not well founded. And it's, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, which NFL Films came up with. They didn't. And so Dallas every year, they're in the running to be the Super Bowl champions, when the reality is it's been, like you said, 30 years since the Dallas Cowboys went to a Super Bowl. So when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, we're not talking about one of the great franchises in sports, because they haven't been one of the great franchises in the NFL. They have the biggest fan base.
Yep.
They're the most popular. They get the biggest crowds. They make the most money.
I don't know
and they're
about
worth
that.
the most.
Pittsburgh
but they're not
Steelers,
the best.
Man.
There you go.
Pittsburgh
Here we go.
Steelers, man. Come on.
There
By
we
the
go.
way,
Pittsburgh
I'm glad you brought up Pittsburgh.
I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
No, you're
and
not.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
When did that happen?
That's been
Right
in
now.
the 70s.
Right now.
Right now.
70s.
Right now.
Oh, when they were winning.
Me and Joe Green.
Oh, talk to him.
You are old. I forgot.
Right. Exactly.
Sadly, I'm right there with you.
Right.
No, but look, here's the great.
I'm tired of Jerry Jones. I'm tired of him. Shut up, be quiet, stop putting pressure on these kids.
Yes.
All right? Let them go out there, and you too, Micah Parsons, go out there and let these guys play the game of football and stop putting this pressure on them. We've been putting pressure on them for 28 years since they haven't won a championship. We talk about them like we talk about LeBron every day. And they don't do nothing.
Right.
All
We
right.
should stop talking
so
about
we
it.
stop talking about, but you still bring it up.
Because they make me.
Right. They make it because that's
they pay the
news.
bills too.
That's news. They pay the
I'm
bills.
glad you brought up the Steelers, though, real quick.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers are never under 500. So if at least Dallas had that kind of track record where every year they're over 500, meaning they're in contention for a playoff berth, they have that odd, run to a Super Bowl, which the Steelers have obviously had, and playoff runs and playoff appearances, I think then the Dallas Star would mean a lot more. But the Dallas Star, let's be honest, is off of relics and ghosts. Yeah. It's not based on anybody who has worn the jersey from 2000 and on.
Right.
There's not a single player that has ever played for the Dallas Cowboys this century that's gone to a Super Bowl in a Dallas Cowboy jersey. True. And yet we talk about them, you're right. Like, God forbid you don't talk about the Dallas Cowboys because they're so good. They're not. They're just the biggest soap opera in the NFL, and we get paid to talk about those things.
They had a very successful season. The Cowboys had a successful
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb
played out of his
nuts.
mind. Yeah.
And Dak Prescott had one of his best years. He's in the
Dak
MVP
led the league in
conversation.
touchdowns. 36 touchdowns.
It was just that game against the Packers. They looked awful. And when you look at the NFC, it should be them and the 49ers every year in the NFC Championship, and only one team shows up.
Yeah, and here's the problem. Is that it doesn't matter what this team does in October, November, December. Because we've seen it. We've seen them have 12-win seasons. We've seen them go, I think, 16 straight games at home without a loss. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's playoff time, and Dallas is like, oh, man. Playoff time.
We were having fun.
Playoff time.
We was having fun.
We don't show up in the playoffs. Anyhow, great to have Tim Hardaway back. Here. Tons of NBA talk and more football.